Okay. Now that I've taken simultaneously too brief and too long of a lunch, I've long felt I could never tell anyone when I was confused or hurting, that admitting to weakness would bring shame to Papa's name. But if you're willing to listen, there are things I'd like to ask about. Come on, let's catch up to the others. I was just confused for a second, wondering why I was 96. That's actually Mr. Red. Mr. Red, you look just like me. It's weird. Where the hell are... Oh, I see where we are. Yeah, I'm only 96. No preference for N36. Not in strategy, not in RPGs, not in anything. I guess there's not a lot of other categories, is there? There's not a lot of turn-based FPSs or turn-based sports games. Could the what act? Well, yeah, I haven't been doing any side quests at all, Spartan. On this class. All of this has been going to my gunbreaker, who's only gotten a full level out of 2 zones worth of side quests. But that is a level I don't have. I should probably be a little bit into 94 at this point. We should stop here for the night. I understand the desire to rush ahead, but we need to recuperate from our punishing river adventure. Sorry, half zones, that's fair. We need to cook fire. There's meal preparation to be done.
I've been meaning to ask, but how does one become the adopted child of the Dawn Servant?
I was but a ball of fuzz at the time, so I don't remember much. My earliest memories are of life in the palace. All I know is that I was born in Ikbrash, a village in Yaktel. But I've never bothered to return there. As far as I'm concerned, Lul Jaja is my only parent.
I quite understand. I have no memories of my birth parents either. For a while, I wanted to learn who they were. But over time, that curiosity waned. Galuf was my dear grandfather, and he was all I needed.
So our situations were quite similar. Even though Papa already had a trueborn son, he raised me and Kona with no less love. One time, I'd wandered off alone into the forest and gotten lost. Before I became a meal for some beast, Papa dropped everything and came to my rescue. I was scared and sobbing and ready for a scolding, but the head of resolve praised me for surviving the ordeal. I did get my lecture from the head of reason, though. He went on and on about the dangers of the jungle and all the horrible ways I could have died. Growing up, Papa was kind and patient, but a tyrant when it came to training. Now, of course, I realize he was preparing me for my duties as a promise. For all the good it did, there's so much I failed to learn about my own country. Whether it's alpacas or Ihihana, I hardly know anything. I've lived such a sheltered life, yet convinced myself I understood Tural and its people. I don't have Kona's education, or Zoralja's strength. I'm all bluff and bravado, not fit to bear my title.
You know, I feel like I literally just said this. But I'll ask a different question. What do you want the throne?
Why? Because my father built a nation where everyone can live in peace. And I want to keep it that way. I think I see what you're saying. My reasons for joining the contest have nothing to do with my brothers. It's always been about the Turali and what I can do for them.
You said it yourself. How important it is to properly know something. To hear the voices of others, empathize with how they feel, and think how best to serve. In so doing, you'll come ever closer to being the person you wish to be.
I'm sorry, everyone. I've been a fool. From this moment on, I'll stop trying to be the promise I'm not. I won't feign strength to hide my weaknesses. Step by step, I'll learn all there is to know and love about Tulihyolal and my fellow Turali. It might not be the smoothest path, but it'll be a path of my own making. I will find the City of Gold for all of us, along with the answers you seek about your grandfather, Kryl. I swear.
I appreciate it, Wuklamart. But you needn't take on that burden as well. Galuf Baldessian dedicated his life to protecting people from all manner of threats. As his granddaughter, I wouldn't wish to endanger others for the sake of a personal investigation. So let's just concentrate on winning the contest. We have a shared goal, and, if at all possible, I'd rather we enjoy the journey.
Hear, hear. We are companions on the same road, bound for the same destination. With our combined talents, nothing will stop us from reaching the Golden City.
Thank you. Thank you all. I am proud to call you my friends.
Oh my god, Aaronville's the final boss, isn't he? Meanwhile...
Thank you. Thank you all. I am proud to call you my friends.
They seem to be enjoying themselves. Are you sure you don't want to go and say a word to your sister?
Tancred, could you stop spying for like 3 seconds?
Nay, there is no need for that. But what of you two? Wuklamat's allies are your comrades. It must feel strange to be rivals.
Listen, we know that if we went to fight the Warrior of Light, we'd be paced on the underside of his boots, and we don't want that.
Helping you has made us rivals, aye, but we're not about to break into fisticuffs over it. Unless, of course, it is a matter of winning or losing the contest. Then I'll have no qualms about putting Alizé on her rear.
Despite our long history, never have I been given the chance to test myself against our companions. The thought stirreth within me a most unexpected sense of competition.
Lamachi has surrounded herself with distinguished figures indeed. One of the Studium's finest graduates, the head of the students of Baldessian. And then, there's Eorzea's vaunted champion. If he's half the hero you say, then the odds are stacked against us. Not that I've any intention of bowing out. Our time in Urkelpacha only served to strengthen my resolve. We saw how a single storm cut off the alpaca roots and threw my people's lives into disarray. Such uncertainties are why I advocate for the adoption of Sharlayan innovations, that Tuli Yolal might know greater stability and prosperity. Our nation can change for the better, and I will be the man to change it.
Or die trying.
Well, it's a start.
Why do I hear boss music?
I imagine your experiences on this journey, all the things you'll hear and feel and think, will help you refine that approach. But to return to the subject of the rite, I'm a touch concerned by the condition for victory. The claimant who breaks the seal becomes Dawnservant, not the one who performed the 7 feats first.
The would-be victor need only possess the 7 keystones.
That is correct. As the contest wears on, we must brace ourselves for greater conflict.
Meanwhile... Again... Meanwhile? I must create war.
Your rivals still lag behind. The second and third promise may have recruited competent lackeys, but none compared to you.
Oh yeah, I never gave my theory. I think the storm's significant. I think that whatever's actually going on is connected to the storm, and I think it's some ancient deity, power, super tech, mega advanced society, civilization who are actually robots, and they're gonna summon God, and the God's angry, and he's been causing storms. There you go, something like that.
How can they hope to compete with the resilient sun? The only child ever sired by a two-head.
Who did he have sex with to have you?
Only the ignorant or foolish could fail to see that you were born to be Dawn's servant.
Such titles mean nothing.
I neglected to mention. When I first heard the rumors that the contest involved the Golden City, I spoke in confidence with Gulul Jaja's inner circle. They all agreed on one thing. Whoever reaches the City of Gold will attain a power so great, it can dictate the course of history.
Uh-huh.
If this power truly exists, then I humbly beg a fair share of it. Time is passing, and I would put my plans in motion without delay. The useless tool is cast aside after all. And just so there is no misunderstanding, you consent to this course, no matter who is made to suffer.
In battle, everyone bleeds. The Dawn's promise is no exception. What better lesson to teach our people the folly of war?
Meanwhile, or earlier, god damn it, we're bouncing around so much here.
I was hoping for a good scrap, but this bloated sack of bile was no challenge at all.
This song.
I wonder if the house cat is dead yet.
This song.
Be ashamed to lose a plaything, but we'd still have 2 more.
If I may ask, Chosen One, what are your plans for Tuli Yolal after you take the throne?
Plans? What makes you think we care about all that?
It planned? I was elected to lead, not to read.
We care only about the contest and proving our superiority.
He has the concept of a plan.
That would surely please Mother and Father.
Yes, and when we become Dawn's servant, we'll drive out the weakling masses and invite our kin to live in the city.
Fine idea! Our family deserves better than that rotten jungle. Back to it then. We must catch up to that one-headed pretender and remind him of the natural order.
I made it.
I thought we were missing someone. Where have you been?
Oh, I feared I was done for when I fell from the boat. Yet, somehow I made it. Oh, my arms, I can barely lift them. If I could just rest a moment. You expect us to wait for you? Those who can't keep up will be left behind.
My brother has spoken. March, or be fodder for the beasts.
But I followed the teachings! Everything I've done, everything I've sacrificed, all has been for the blessed seedlings.
How would he care about loyalty?
Wait. Don't leave me behind! I'm begging you!
So that was chaotic evil. The previous guy was lawful evil. We're chaotic good, and the other dude is lawful good. Alright. Probably, either true neutral or neutral good, by default. So, I'm gonna be honest with you, Jitoho, I'm really tired about arguing about this negative. I'm getting tempted to make it more negatives out of literally nothing more than spite about the fact that nobody will shut up about this stupid negative. So now that I've moved past the venting phase and I can actually respond to your question like a reasonable human being. The problem here, at its fundamental core, is that what they did was they crafted a galactic-level crisis and huge apocalypse. No, ignore the 34 positives of the story. Nobody gives a shit about any of that. This is all about one negative. So, the creators crafted a galactic-level apocalypse, which has ended multiple entire societies on an interstellar level. And they crafted it in such a unique way that perfectly suits this setting, to actually even bypass the afterlife, to truly cessate people in a way that not only destroys them utterly, but each destruction of a person then further causes more destruction. Both intangibly, thanks to the disparate self-spreading, making more other people more susceptible to it, and literally in terms of actually straight up killing them. But instead, that doesn't work that way. And admittedly, this is, and I've already said this, a negative for Endwalker, not for this. But the problem here is that they have crafted this uniquely horrific apocalypse. It's so bad. It is so colossal. And then you can just tell at some point they were like, well, hold up. We did that at this point in the story, and then we've got all of this story left. And so they needed to come up with some, let's call it what it is, bullcrap excuse in order to try and explain away why exactly it is that this whole colossal death doom thing was something that they could take their time with. Was something that wasn't actually that big of a deal. This is actually an extremely common problem in virtually every bit of writing ever. Usually, what happens, and I'm grateful they didn't do this, this is why this is only one negative. Usually what they'll do is they'll introduce something that is completely insurmountable, completely unstoppable in such a way that it's absolutely impossible to be able to defeat it, and then, oh, we win. because we have a MacGuffin or something, right? Like, it's really irritating when they do that. Yeah, honestly, the Borg in Star Trek is a good example of this. Or Sauron or whatever. There's just something, and oh, that's the I win button. And this didn't do that. FF14 didn't do that. But what they did instead was they wanted to have their cake and eat it too, and I don't think they did the writing sufficient to actually justify it. Because we had a colossally huge apocalypse, and I'm going to keep using that word, even though I've already used it like 3 times now, to really emphasize how big of a deal this was. And they did a really, really good job of showing it on the micro scale and the macro scale. Except we totally didn't have an apocalypse because it was limited to certain regions because of ether currents. And that just de-invests me from the apocalypse itself. It's so frustrating that they spent so much time and effort establishing how horrible it was, and then immediately established so much time and effort to say why it wasn't so horrible. And it's just like, what are you doing? Just zoom it in and make it less horrible, or zoom it out and keep it the horrible that it is. Instead, they try to do both at the exact same time. And everything's fine. What? I apologize, Toho. I'm not cussing at you, to be clear. This is a terrible week where everything is hopeless and despairing, and we should all kill ourselves. However, since that's off the table for the moment, to be clear, I have still only given this thing 1 negative because it is only 1 bit of bad. It is not horrifically terrible. It is not something that's atrocious. It could be worse. I just explained one of the ways it could be worse. But I do think this is a negative to story. I am not going to feel bad about a game that is crushing it so far, and we're 2.5, excuse me, we're more like a zone and a half into the game at this point. Agreed, Rax. And having just bucketed this game with positives, because everyone is butthurt about this 1 negative that nobody will shut up about. I got another comment during the lunch break on the YouTube channel about this, by the way. So that would be a grand total of 5 times today. I have heard people whinge about this negative, this 1 negative. And I have listened to everyone's arguments, and all of the arguments boil down to one of 2 things. Either they explained it, and therefore it's not a negative, which is not how that works, or it doesn't bother me, which is fine. That's understandable. That's how that works. But like... No, I do think they explained it, to be clear. I do think they explained it. I agree with that. That's not a point of contention I have. Again, my point of it, my point with the negative is overall... I don't feel like... I literally just explained this. I just explained this. That's my point. I know that everyone wants every game I cover that they love to have no negatives whatsoever. I get that. I understand that completely. I get defensive too. I understand. It's just, it does get really, really, really grating. As an aside, because I keep forgetting to do this, I should mention the positives I have been giving this game. Negative number 1. There we go. Oh, it's gone. Okay. Positive number 1. Let's see here. I'm trying to remember the last time. It's actually a negative for Endwalker. It's just on the line right now, because I don't feel like adjusting a bunch of paperwork right now to fix that. So positives, right? First of all, I loved the Urkelpacha story. Down to earth, individual character focus, economics, culture, fleshing out of the warmonger too, right? Figuring out what's going on with that. That's awesome. What do you mean, Dream Whisperer? I will be honest. So, sorry, hang on. Let me talk about positives first. Then I'll go back to negatives. I liked the secondary quests. I loved the little side quests of the people there. The Pelu Pelu. Pelu Pelu are awesome. Probably one of my favorite little mini cultures that we've encountered so far. I also really liked the Primot. And I'd have to look that up. They have a line when we talk to the Watcher. Chitoho just mentioned this. When we talk to the Watcher, there's mention about how it slowly spread because the dynamis waves were like either spreading on or resisted by the ether currents. I forget which. And it was a whole thing back in Endor. They actually mentioned it several times because we learn about how the end of days originally happened. Then we learn about how things are propagating now, and then we see that it's only happening in certain areas, and then we resist it and push back against it, and blah, 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 blah. Stuff like that. Lost my train of thought. I loved the primary optional quest chain. The guy. I mean, it's so logical that even if you don't appeal to someone's greater demeanor, ethics, whatever, right? The fact of the matter is that the Uldanian guy, I can't remember his name, I didn't jot down his name, but the fact that he was willing to have a long-term trade partner, morality, thank you, Plutus, in order to have long-term profits, that's cool. I like that. I like how that appeal works. I like how the two different merchants from two different perspectives reached together and worked together on that. That was awesome. I liked the brickwork of the dungeon we just did. It's probably one of the better jungly areas I've seen so far, and the brickwork has been knocked out of the park this whole expansion. So that's no shock there. I also liked the cutscene we just saw, which was a really nice cutscene. A little bit long, if I'm being honest, but it does, once again, emphasize the four factions and how differently they're approaching this whole thing. For example, I'm sure you noticed that the lawful evil guy, I can't remember his name, the warmonger, his primary motive isn't even to actually retain the crown. Instead, he's actually focusing on something else. And you could tell his vizier is absolutely plotting something. Oh no, the side quests have been really good. I've also pulled back on several negatives. I know nobody noticed, but I decided not to give a voice acting negative for Wu Klamak. I do think she's a weaker voice actress than a lot of the other ones here, but she's not doing badly. She is probably a wash at the moment. So I pulled that back from a negative to a wash. I did codify the negative for her character pretty much from the cutscene we just saw previous. Because while she did have a few good moments where other people were... she could bounce off other people in order to flesh them out, she's just so irritating in the initial part of the story. To the point where I just really... Good night, Earth. I just go away. She was so frustrating. She was such a slapstick, haha, aren't I cute teenager. And I know that that's not going to irritate some people the way it does me, but God, I wanted her off my screen for the first few scenes. However, that's the reason that's only one negative is it only took her, I'd say, about 6 or 7 hours, which I guess is a long time, but effectively most of the first stream and a little bit of the second to just start growing out of that and start going into directions that are more interesting. Again, pretty much the moment we hit the first few zones, she became a much more tolerable character. I also pulled back on the secondary quest negatives. I was double checking myself on some precedents we set for gameplay quest design. Yeah, exactly, Playable. And I decided I am probably going to codify a negative for secondary quest gameplay because the gameplay of the secondary quests is not good. I don't really know how else to add that, but it's not offensive, right? It's just boring. It's just go to a spot and talk to a person, go to a spot or loot a thing, go to a spot or kill a thing. It's dull, and that is a negative, but it's one negative, right? That could have worked, Wenlock. I obviously have given a negative for the ether currents. That's one negative per expansion. I also gave a negative to the hub. It's the first capital city I've straight up given a negative for, because Tuliolo is just way too big for what it is, and it needed far more of those ether crystals spread out in order to actually make it work. And it's just... I'm glad every time we don't have to roam around there. Let's see. Positives. The dungeon we just did. I liked the first boss, which did a good job of being like, all right, so new mentality. Like, you caught that, right? He seems like a fairly standard boss until he just starts throwing stuff everywhere. And they've done the throw the stuff everywhere thing a couple of times, but like in Boja, right? The kind of content that most players would never have even seen. Instead, we see it here. See where mechanics go. We see it here, and they do a good job of getting the player into the mindset of pay attention, watch for multiple things, watch for layered things, right? Screw your Black Mage. Although Bragwin was the top DPS for that. Not that I would know that. So that was a good first boss. The second boss worked even better for me. I made a casual comment during the second boss fight that I wasn't even tanking him. But I actually like that. It reminds me a lot of one of my favorite boss fights from all the way back in Stormblood. You probably know the one I'm referencing. It was far more about paying attention, mapping out where things were going to go, and dealing with multiple mechanics layering on top of each other without having to really deal with the fact that it was a typical spank and tank, or tank and spank, excuse me. So that's cool. That's cool. I'm actually completely with that. That was a double positive boss fight. The third boss should have been a double positive, but I do think it has just a little bit too much health. And I think, I agree with you completely, Talia. I think it's just human nature. We focus on the negatives. That's why I'm talking this all out right now. The third boss has a little bit too much health. I do think that. If you're paying attention, we went through its entire loop of attacks 3 times during the course, or maybe it was 4 times. It was at least 3 times, and that was just a full round of that. However, it was still a fun and interesting fight. I found it fun to try and deal with the little whirlwind thing that would throw out the things. Very, very clear indicator of where it's going to hit. And then, you know, stuff like that. That was a cool mechanic. I liked that star mechanic. And I liked how it was layering the... oh god, what was the second? I can't remember what it was called, because it had the unavoidable damage. Then it had the I'm going to do half the room, and then the other half of the room. Hope you remember where the first half was. First half goes off. Second half goes off. Again, not actually new to FF14. There's been bosses that do that before, but I do like that kind of mechanic, and it's all about paying attention. On top of just doing your loop, which to me helps to engage me a little bit more in a game like this. Not that core combat is bad in FF14, quite the contrary. I like playing the classes in this game. But when I have something else to do on top of my loop, that's just even better for me. And that's why I tend to value bosses like that. But again, a little bit too much health, and that drags it down. Now, someone asked what was the boss I found most difficult. Honestly, probably the second one. The second one was the one that pushed me the hardest, and of course is the one that I enjoyed the most. Oh yeah, that's also true. The first dungeon... So this is our first dungeon of the expansion, and all 3 bosses did a pretty good job of being like, so this is what you should probably be expecting from dungeons of this. If you remember, Stormblood did the same thing. And I think Shadowbringers did too. Right? Hang on, let me double check that. Pull up thing... Yeah, the Mages Trio, that's a fun fight. Here we go, Shadowbringers. First dungeon, yep, Holminster Switch. I was right, yep. So yeah, Holminster Switch over in Shadowbringers, which was a very good first dungeon. And then over in Stormblood, if I'm not mistaken, we had, if it'll show up in my thing, yep, the Siren Song Sea. Yeah, no, that was a solid one. Yeah, some good first things. Anyways. Yes, Lunaruth. See, Lunaruth once again is arguing against the negative, not focusing on the positive, even though I'm giving a positive. I've often wondered, just as a purely, like as an absolutely curiosity thing, if I could review a game, a shorter game, to make this work, and be like, all right, listen, how many positives or negatives do you think this should be? And don't even give my opinion. Just be like, all right, the boss we just fought, positives and negatives, and then move on. Next boss, positive and negatives, and then move on. And just like track it across the crowd, right, to see how many each individual person gives, just to see how varied the scores would be. And that would be an insane hassle to set up on a logistics level, but it's something that I've been curious about a few times. Anyways. And I apologize about losing my temper. I mean, that actually wasn't me losing my temper. That was just me. Losing hope. And so I apologize for that. That's not what we're here for. Being able to say those things has brought me much relief. It's like a stone has been lifted off my chest, and I can take a full breath at last. Yeah, if there's a despair wave, oh man. I actually wonder how many people, purely from like a morbid curiosity, like if I could just have a tally, like a computer, calculate how many people would give in to the despair wave right now if it hit Earth in real life, and just see how big that number is. And then I'd calculate for other points in history too, because we've had plenty of despair moments in human history. We've had plenty. Life sucks. I've been looking into moving to Canada. Did you know that A, they're closing the borders even more soon, and B, they're about to elect someone more right-leaning. Just great. Being able to say those things has brought me such relief. It's like a stone has been lifted off my chest, and I can take a full breath at last. I don't want to encumber myself like that again. I want to be better. Will be better for myself and for my people. Yeah, it's sorry. I don't want to be polemic, so I'll leave polemic stuff aside for the moment. But all I'm going to say from a purely pragmatic perspective is I am very quickly getting to the point where I'm not actually going to be capable of leaving the country I was born in, because everywhere is closing their borders. You rewind time 10 years, I could have already moved to Canada now. Like equivalent circumstance, just boom. Just move right in. I know this because I know people who did that 10 years ago, who didn't even have a job at the time. Like, borders used to be, and again, only 10 years ago, borders used to be a lot more open than they are right now. And now it's more like, no. No. And yeah, Germany's going through whatever they're going through right now. The Moblin settlement of Earthenshire is not far from here. Oh god, it's Idleshire! Be warned, the road will be taking is favored hunting ground for bandits. With the stairs currently impassable, there will be fewer travelers, meaning the brigands will be desperate for victims to ambush. Although, considering present company, I suppose my concern is unwarranted. Bandits on the road? What have Zeralja and the Landsguard been doing? Seems it's up to me to restore order to the area. And off she goes again. I know it's silent. I can't stand this song. Good evening, Mr. Floyd Pinkerton. I do hope your day is going well. Hope that for many people. Most people. I actually have my passport. I bothered. I may never get use out of it, but I have it. Okay, so we should be out of town by now. This zone continues to be gorgeous, by the way. Can I just say that? Just taking that screen for a second there. Take that screen in. Yes, I did, Yura. I think my personal favorite thing... Well, hang on. Let me actually read your exact wording. Nope, you're right. My personal favorite aspect of Warrior. So, I'm boring. There are three big things I really love about Warrior tanking. First is this axe. Behold its glory. I'm not actually joking, kind of, because my first favorite thing about playing a warrior is it looks really cool. It has some great viscerality, especially for a melee class. Honestly, a lot of the melee classes in this game don't have what I would call great viscerality. Warrior's a big exception to that. It's big, it's loud, it's fun, but most importantly of all, it has that oomph to it. This is doubly important because a lot of Warrior skills hit really freaking hard. So yeah, exactly, no, it feels chonky. It feels like bam when you actually slam down. Like when you, I can't do that one because I need a card for it, but it just has an oomph to it, which I love. So that's the first reason I like Warrior tanking. The second reason is actually exactly what you said. Its AoE coverage is, I honestly would say, second to none. Obviously, all of the tanks are good, but Warrior can just control a crowd like nothing else. It reminds me of Demon Hunter a little bit over in World of Warcraft for that same prospect. The third thing I like about Warrioring is healing. Warrior has such crazy healing to it. Like, I know we've all joked for a while that this is green DPS or whatever, but yeah, no, its sustain is shocking. How much you can just sit there and hang as a warrior. Especially if you know how to space things out and loop properly. Like, it literally has its own instacast heal that's also a hot. You get that at 58, by the way. Yeah, no, Warrior's crazy. It's weird how good of a class it is. I was very tempted to just do Warrior when it came to doing this. I don't regret doing Paladin. The Paladin's legit too. That's the thing, they're all good. I mean, as Paladin, I can do all the kind of things you've been watching me do this whole time. And as Dark Knight... Anyway, so, back to our real class. Sorry, Mr. Ben. I honestly wish Dark Knight... I've said this so many times. I'm sorry to keep repeating myself, but I've been doing a lot of thought about game design, especially in the last year, because I've been quietly putting together some of my own documents, and also literally helping other people with game design. And so, the more I look at Dark Knight, the more I think it really needs to be a DPS class. It needs to be something that uses its health as a regular resource in order to push through things, in order to burst like crazy, just like a Dark Knight should. It's already one step into there. It felt eyes on us several... I felt eyes on us several times when we were here, though they seemed to lose interest. Again and again, I'm struck by the majesty of the falls. It's difficult to comprehend the sheer volume of water this natural wonder produces. Yeah, actually. I think you're right, Blade Tamal. Yeah, because I was about to bring up 11. Because you've told me about 11's Dark Knight. The bandit's lair is said to be somewhere near here, but I'd prefer we avoid seeking trouble. Oh, I see. This is the river which feeds the waterfalls above Okano. Well, where are the bandits? Apparently they're not foolish enough to attack a party of this size. Earthenshire is just a little farther ahead, on the opposite bank of... Oh, Jesus Christ. Miakabek Zoma. But let's remain vigilant all the same. Unfortunately, I agree with you, little Billy. So, what I would probably do... Because you're right, like, health as a resource just doesn't work when healing functions the way it currently does, right? All that does is either make you worse if you don't have a healer, or too good if you do have a healer. Or worse, they balance it around you having a healer, so you're even worse without a healer, and then you're merely as good as everyone else with a healer. And that's essentially a heal tax. That doesn't work. So, yeah, having some kind of, like, blood resource, or a completely new, distinct resource for Dark Knights might not be a terrible idea to go with that. Maybe literally something you generate while being hit, to kind of equivalent the same class fantasy. Maybe as you take damage, your blood fills up. Or your vengeance, if you want to go the Tonbray route with it. And then you could spend that resource on things. I don't know. Spitballing at this point. Yeah, we need to deliver more bomb rings. So these are moblins, huh? So tempted to pull up a song right now. You know the song. We haven't really been talking, in general. We're gonna have a Mario Party night tonight, though. That should be fun. This is Earthenshire. Not another claimant in sight. Does that mean we're ahead or behind? Even as Hanu culture is distinct from the Vanu, Moblin society is developed quite differently from their goblin cousins. Goodness, it's me. It's like the entire village is made out of pottery. Yeah, I can hear that. This is it, the village where the Lay of Pots from the Tuliolo saga took place. Earthenshire, Idleshire. Might the similarity be a cultural inclination, I wonder? The settlements themselves could be more different, though. The Shire appears custom-built to resemble pots, while the others are repurposed town. Welcome to Earthenshire. Do I have the pleasure of happy greeting the third promise and her retinue? That's us! We're looking for the Dawn Servant's Elector, if you happen to know who that is. You're exchanging tongue claps with her right now. Rederock is the lector you seek. Oh, that's helpful. We can get straight to performing the feat. As much as Rederock would like to do just that, we have a much more pressing worry. The storm? 3 zones now. I know this is technically the same zone, but functionally a new zone, right? So, 3 zones. Actually, no, I'm sorry. 4 zones in a row, if we count the original one now. It's gotta be something. The storm which hit our village shattered the cliffs and dropped rocks into our brain cases. Many help hands for the Potsworn were injured. This is no time for feats or metal tests. I'm sorry to hear that. After learning what the storm did to the stairs, I feared you'd been caught in its path. What are Potsworn? Goldsmiths contracted to work with the Moblins. The word comes from the pot-like workshops within which they practice their craft. The Moblins provide these Potsworn with tools, materials, living quarters, everything the artisans could possibly need. This allows them to concentrate on producing what is widely known as the finest gold and metalwork in Tyrol. This is unacceptable. I was promised no destructions! If this is the best they can offer, I never should have left Wachumeki. Humph. I leave in high dungeon. You see, the Potsworn desert us. Without enough healthy help hands, we are failing to uphold our side of the Pot Pact. Should all the Potsworn leave, the Earthenshire will grind to a halt. Have to do something and do it soon. Well, let's stand in for the injured helpers. They give us a chance to learn more about your people in the village, and if it brings us closer to bringing the feat, so the better. This isn't strictly part of the contest, so don't feel obligated to join in. Take a rest. You're dumb. Of course I'm going to help. I was hoping you'd say that. I actually wasn't sure I could do this on my own. We'll all help. I doubt any of us could sit around and watch. Take every help hand we can. Red Rock truth swears that once the Potsworn have their perfect workshops again, we will commence the feat with all haste. You and the third promise can assist Help and Rakarok. You other four, follow Red Rock. There are other help hands in need of hand helping. There. I really appreciate you pitching in. I appreciate you having a voice actress. What is with the voice acting in this game? I meant what I said at many fires. No more feigning strength. No more playing at the invincible promise. So one thing I learned on this journey is how practiced you are at aiding those in need. I've been doing it for a while. Also, she just flat out called us her mentor for the first time. Let's find this Rakarok fellow, see what we can do for him. So from a designer and a management perspective, it makes perfect sense to reuse art assets. That is a tremendous amount of time and effort saved in the doing. And seeing diverse cultures of the same species is the kind of thing that not only makes perfect sense, but adds some additional flavor to them. Having said that, they have pulled this trigger twice already in this game. And I do actually think that if they pull it a third time, it'll officially reach the point where I'm like, okay, come on, guys. I do understand, I do get it, and I do agree with it, but I do think they could push that envelope too far if they keep going with it. Like if the next expansion is called, I don't know, Shadow Wilds, and it's set in Mercidia, and oh my god, there's the goblins and the Vanu, and it's like, okay, guys. But as of this moment in time, it doesn't bother me. Rakarok can't meet his obligations without more help hands. The pot pact is broken and the pots are empty. It's going to be dragons. We're going to get Mercidian flying. Mercidian flight is what they'll call it. Mercidia flight? I don't know. Rakarok accepts your hand lending with joyous feel smiles. If we can offer the Potsworn their promised good living, we might save the day yet. Whatever you need. Oh, absolutely, Act. I can't wait to take a baseball bat to Starfield. I do want to finish my Secret of the Stars audit first, though. What Rakarok needs is for new help hands to create good living in Potsworn Kahi. The help hands assigned to Kahi were hurt during the rock run, so Rakarok took over, but he knows nothing of Kahi. What does Kahi want? What does Kahi need? Help hands do not bother the Potsworn with straight tasks. Our job is to observe and anticipate, to prepare things with guest think. Please, guest think with Rakarok. Find out what Kahi is lacking so we can provide it. What the? Side quests? In my FF14? Okay, yeah, do me a favor, write it down somewhere, Blade 12, because I want to hear it later. Grilled Urko trout. A freshly caught Urko trout sprinkled with salt and roasted dough in a stick over a fire. Oh, you have no idea, Spartan. When I get the joy of just ignoring a side quest, it's like a physical relief. It's like there's just this... the side quests. You're an adventurer, you're not one who wide walks from place to place. If you intend to wide walk to many fires, could you give this to Mobby friend Swipalstick? Bagnabrock forgot to overhand it last time he was. This is so hard to read. Naturally, your service shall receive its just reward. Just one warning word. Do not hold nose close. Very stinky stuff. I mean, you'll notice I'm functionally doing the same thing, Spartan. Let's see. Klaus Kinski. He's apparently a German actor. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with a no. does not sound familiar, unfortunately. Oh man, I do love the Skaven. Almost I have to really get into the Skaven, you know. Like here, let me try. Let me get some water. I just noticed we still have this goddamn town music. I'm so sick of this town song. Oh. Hang on, this is in the town playlist. Hang on. I'll do another Breath of Fire song.
Ah, visitor, what brings you to Underbearing Abode? A love of all things arty and crafty, perchance? And perhaps you would stoop to assist us in our craftwork? Yes. The task Flaraflick begs of you is cake piece. Collect sparkle stones from riverbank. Come, lend your land sketch that he might finger point where such marvels have thereto been found. Oh, it is not hard fixed you will find any. All depends on flighty fields of great and bounteous Ihuki Kmatu. All Flaraflick can say for certain, you find any, you'll be glad-faced. Yes. Song perfect for Skaven. Very Skaven song.
I have not, Loke. Who's Thancool? No, gameplay is the overwhelming majority of the reason. The story of Dishonored 2 is almost entirely carried by the visuals. The plot of Dishonored 2 is frankly dull as dishwater. Dishonored 1 had a much more interesting narrative.
Woe is Presta Pick. Who can help poor Presta Pick?
Really, Berlichstum? Oh my god.
Lowlander can help poor Presta Pick. Lowlander must help poor Presta Pick. Ear lend me, Lowlander. Presta Pick has one of finest earthenware collections in all Earthenshire. But then storm comes, all his precious go smash shards. Urgh. Need crafty make replacement pots, but Presta Pick too busy shard sweeping to return to dig site to collect dig stuff. Will Lowlander collect dig stuff for Presta Pick? Need good pot craft clay and fine flux feldspar. Is already updug and carry bagged. All he asks, you bring it to cave near Yokoi Prey Place.
You got it. Oh my god, that's all over the place. Okay. How do I get out of town? Oh god, how do I... Okay, no, we're okay, we're okay. Jesus Christ. Look, I need him for the movie. Why? Just replace him. I mean, Dishonored 1... I agree. Dishonored 2 doesn't have much of its identity, narratively. Like, even the central plot is essentially just Dishonored 1 again. So Dream Whisper asks a really good question. Is there a fly point? So let me explain why ether currents are an objective negative to gameplay. No, for real. Hear me out for a second, okay? So the way that ether currents work is there's a bunch of them just out in the wild, which you can go find. You've seen me cover. They're the big green orb things. And those you can keep track of here on this screen. So that's the green diamonds on that screen. The yellow diamonds are doing quests. There's almost always an MSQ quest, main quest, which is part of that for a thing. But yeah, so the fly point for any given zone is almost always when you've finished the zone. In fact, it's actually a little bit after you've finished the zone, is when you then have the ability to fly in a zone. Think about that for a second. Imagine sweeping, imagine, like, you do, I don't have a thing for this. Imagine you do a whole area, and it's like, okay, now we can fly through that area, and it's like, oh. Like, I get that it's, from what I understand, because I looked into this last time we were streaming this, it's based on the precept of mastering the zone, which was the same thing we had back before flying even existed, right? The hunts and with the gems. they want you to experience it all, then you can fly around. The problem is, with the exception of a few specific zones, there's not really any point in flying around at any given point in time once you've finished the zone, because you've finished the zone. As with many things in FF14, it makes perfect sense from a narrative perspective, but from a gameplay experience perspective, it's just frustrating. Now, I don't want to turn this into another WoW versus FF14 argument. However, WoW very recently actually committed to doing the exact opposite of this. Let me explain what I mean by that. So in WoW, for a very long time, and up until basically this expansion, actually, there was you had to earn different flight, different access to different mounts, and then different flight and different speed of flight over time. So like you start off with a slow mount, then you get a faster mount, then you get a slow flying mount, then you get a fast flying mount, then you get a faster flying mount, then you get dragon flying. And that's how the progression used to work. Now that's varied over the years and what's specifically required, but that's always been the path, right? Then in the most recent expansion, they said, all right, you're level 10, and you now have dragon flying. Immediately. It's a complete 180 on the overall approach, and yet has been received by a large number of players, not everyone, of course, almost universally positively. Because it pushes that wonderful traversal gameplay, which I've already shown off, right up to the front, and you get to enjoy it as you're going through the dungeons, as you're going through the zones, as you're experiencing the MSQ, as you're leveling. It's also probably worth noting that WoW is just kind of designed around flying more. As in it's overworld, right? It's level design, it's area design, it's zone design. They want you to be flying in a lot of those zones. They are not designed to be taken off the ground, with only a couple of specific exceptions to that. Now you can, and that's the final reason I like it. Nothing is forcing you to dragonfly in WoW. It's just an option that's available from word go. If you want to run around on foot or on a ground mount, you can. I myself will acquiesce to the admission that when I have the time to properly enjoy it, there are several zones that I actually do not fly in, just because I prefer seeing them from the ground. But yeah, exactly, Loke. Some zones in WoW are clearly made to be seen up there. I mean, even just from a basic visual perspective. Just from looking around, right? Also true, Fife. WoW zones are bigger than they've ever been. Dragonflight is actually a gargantuan expansion in terms of zone size, but you have dragon flying, so it doesn't feel like it. Picture, I hate to pick on FF16, but you remember how so many zones in FF16 were just this slog to walk from one end to the other? Picture that, but like going across a zone was this and you're there kind of a deal. All of a sudden, the game feels a lot denser because so much less of your time is spent going from point A to point B. There is one last reason I do appreciate this, and it has nothing to do with a game review perspective. MMOs, going as far back as EverQuest and Asheron's Call, agreed, Rex. That's why I've theorized that the speed in the game right now might actually be a coding cap in terms of how fast the game can render. I have no idea. It's just something I've speculated on. Anyways, yeah, it takes out of the padding. Exactly, Loke. MMOs going all the way back to the big three would add deliberate padding to the game to keep you subbed longer. It was a basic formula. They wanted you to spend more time playing the game so that you would stay subscribed for longer, so they would make more money. It was pretty linear, right? And that was the norm for a huge portion of time. Several MMOs, including the one I'm playing right now, have moved away from that in more recent years, which I'm very much appreciative of, because I don't need you to waste my time to keep me subbed, and I appreciate that if I wasn't the kind of person to stay subbed 12 months a year, I could unsub for a while and just, let that bill sit for a bit, because I've experienced all the content, because it didn't take me longer to it, because you took the padding out of it. And so that's the final reason I'm in favor of them just shoving the dragon flying so much forward in WoW. Is the biggest bit of padding WoW has always had is not the quest drops, it's not the It's not the grind. It's not the rep hunting or anything like that. The biggest bit of padding in WoW has always been travel time, going all the way back to vanilla. It's one of the reasons why they actually added the flight paths all the way back in the very, very early versions of beta, was because that was actually considered a compromise to reduce the amount of padding in the game. But even that, if you've ever paid attention to the flight paths, is padded. Nice, long, swooping paths, showing off the terrain and taking way longer to get where they're going than it actually needs to, just to make you wait that much longer to go from point A to point B. At this point, probably not, Mr. Red. Even though they had a skip button there. Alright, how many of you remember what I'm talking about? When WoW had a skip button for the flight paths. So back in BC was the first time they added holidays to the game. And one of those holidays was this thing with winter, and you could get snowballs. Snowballs in the game, they would have a stun effect, and they would make you go, huh, when you get stunned. So if Rax hopped on a flight path, and I'm standing right next to him, and as he's taking off, I hit him with the snowball before he gets out of range, he'll get stunned and instantly teleport to his destination at the end of the flight path. Oh, it was totally a glitch. They patched it pretty quickly. It was nice while it was there, though. Is that everything? That's everything. There we go. There was actually another glitch, too. This is actually a little bit further back in vanilla. So, can you even get drunk in FF14? Well, back in WoW, when you get drunk, what it does is periodically your camera just does this. Like, it just kind of takes control away from you. It'll make you go up and down and just all over the place, right, like this. Thing is, it didn't interact well with the flight paths. So sometimes, if you were drunk and got on a flight path, the drunk re-steering would actually screw with the flight path, and you could go off the path, through mountains, into the terrain, and to a point where you need a GM to rescue you. Hey, Blue Alex. You're just in time to join us for FF14 side quests. Did you find Press to Pick state stuff? Oh, right, I need to do the Skaven voice. I can't do the Skaven voice now. Blue Alex is here. Big thanks, Lowlander. Press to Pick will crafty make new pots right away. Every mobby needs pots and plenty of them. Where else would we keep our self stuff? That's why every mobby is a pot maker. No need to ask craft hands when mobby hands will do. But the time for lip flapping is over. Time for pot making has begun. Lol, very good. Well, strange face. Did bounteous Ihu Kya... Oh my god. Ihui Katuba beam teeth you this day? Incredible. Not just one sparkle stone, but two. Must happy like you indeed. We call these sparkle stones Ihui Katuma's tears. They downwash all the way from Sorcerer River high up in Big Hills, getting smaller and smaller and shinier, though they upwash here. Floraflick says, finally, but this is only first stage of journey to greatness. Our Potsworn cut them to their twinkle cores, polish them till they shine like starlight, and fit them with finest ear dangles and wrist blings. So now you know, Strangeface, our tinkerwork uses only finest craft stuff. Pray, peruse our wares and be loose-pursed with your coin, but whatever you do, don't lip-slip the location of sparkle stones. It's an Earthenshire secret. You gave present to Swopistic? Many thanks. Very happy about it, I trust. There isn't a moblin around who doesn't love rot tea, and Ragnarok's rot tea is very lip-smacky indeed. Put a pinch in a pot and we'll boil it up, and the frister gas is enough to make any Bombi's bask fill with eye water. Yes, rot tea of Ragnarok is very good stuff. Ragnarok knows exactly what finger clippings and back scratchings make for best brew. Why so big eyes? You want to try rot tea for yourself? Sorry, gave it all. You'll have to wait till next harvest. I'm good, thanks. Agreed. Actually, you want to hear something wild, Rax? They added sightseeing to Dragonflight. It's actually more Assassin's Creed than sightseeing, but still. Like, imagine I'm flying around here and, I don't know, okay, there's nothing really nearby. Oh, no, like at the top of that rock up there in the upper left, there's a flag up there. And you could fly up there and click that flag, and it'll do the Assassin's Creed pan, right? All around. Gives you some experience, too. And there's achievements associated with it. But, again, that's all bonus points. I just love doing those. Hey, there's a spot I can grab. I agree with that, Blue Felix. This is where Kahia works, is it? Actually, yes, Kira. Like Vistas and Guild Wars 2. WoW will run better than FF14, like it or not. It's ironically more intensive of a game, but it's much better optimized. Not that FF14 is exactly a slouch in that category. Okay, hot. It'd be a lot quicker if we could just talk to him, but there's not the way to do things around here, apparently. Okay. We'll have to leave him be and try our hand at some guess thing. Then there's the Memories of the World Soul. That's a whole other thing. That's a good question, FML Word. Everyone in chat, what do you think of FML Word's idea? Do you think that moving ether currents, in other words, moving flight to completing a portion of the sightseeing log for a zone would be better or worse? Or the same? Yes, he's hot, I get it. Tools are looking worn down. Unfortunately, if there's one way in which FF14 is decisively better than WoW, it's that you don't need to really pay for FF14 to play it for a huge portion of time. Whereas in WoW, you only get those first 20 levels. I gotta tell you, by the way, in case you don't know, 20 levels ain't much in WoW. You can do a lot. Actually, there's another facet of that I only found out about recently. Check this out. Let's assume for a moment that you're on a free account, right? And so you're like, hey, and you're doing your stuff, and you do stuff, and you hit level 20. Oh no! But you don't want to stop. So you keep playing, and you keep playing, and you keep playing, and you're still level 20. Until finally you get to the point where you've finished like 3 whole zones, and you're doing all this stuff, and you're like, you know what? I feel like subbing. And the moment you do, all of the content you just did, all the experience you just gained, has been saved and backlogs into you, and instantly you're like level 36 or whatever it is, right? In other words, in coding terms, it's kind of artificially locking you at 20, but it is still keeping track of what you're doing while you're on your free account. And the moment you sub, you're back open again. Yeah, like I said, I only found out about that recently. It might be new. He's barely touched his meal. That dish is meant to be eaten hot or it loses its savor. I don't know why we're in Mega Man 3 now, but you know what? I'm okay with it. Alright, After taking a good look, I think I have an idea what things Kahii might want to improve his working conditions. Let's head back outside. Yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I wish WoW and FF14 would steal more ideas from each other. WoW should let you play up to a certain point, like story-wise, just for free, like FF14 does. And FF14 should store your progress just like WoW does, right? Perfect example. Just... Yeah, no, you will hit level 20 pretty fast if you're, like, doing a decent chunk of content. You made your observations? What did you guess think? He hadn't touched his food, and an empty belly can't be good for his constitution. Maybe the cooking isn't to his liking. But our food is very mouth-pleasing. Why wouldn't he want to eat it? Ah, Rakarok is sure of nothing when it comes to Kahi's tastes. I can help you with that. My brother Koana is also Hitsaro, and while everyone has their personal preference, there are some they tend to share. Like an aversion to piping hot dishes. If it was brought to him like that, Kahi wouldn't be able to eat it till it cooled down. By the time he did, he would have found it cold and unappetizing. The simplest solution is to serve dishes that taste good, no matter the temperature. Like pizza! Rakarok never thought of that. Would the third promise mind explaining how about these things to cook? Not at all, but I don't think that's the only reason he couldn't concentrate. That Sarah Hamlet is hot and dry, but even Kahi seems to be suffering in the heat of that furnace. Don't we could cool down the workshop? Oh, we could try a drafty shard. They make a lovely breeze. You know we can get one of those? You can gather them at the Shoals of No Return. The Shoals of No Return. There are many old boats there, abandoned by those who gave up their search for the Golden City. So we salvaged them from wrecks. Could you handle that for us? Yeah, sure. I canonically don't have to breathe, or rather breathe underwater. One more thing. From what I can tell, his files and saws were very worn down. Maybe a new set of tools is in order? Rakarok was too preoccupied with stocking materials, a serious oversight which he will rectify. Supplying good tools for good living is a help-hand's responsibility. We all have our work to do. We can meet back here when our tasks are done. The Shoals of No Return are past the crags of No Return, through a tunnel of no return. You should be able to return just outside the village. Thanks. Seriously, FML word. You're Laura, aren't you? What brings you here? And without saying a word, I draw my blade and shove it right through his chest. Back out. Resheath it. Hello, Thancred. Ah, the issue with caring for the Potsworn. When they approached me with the same problem, I suggested they commission artisans in Charlayan instead. The quality of craftsmanship would be guaranteed, after all. However, the Moblins did not care for the idea. Surely it would be more effective to engage a uniformly trained collective. I cannot understand their fixation on individual contracts. Perhaps the custom will make more sense when we begin the feat of pots. Until then, we've been deemed unfit to assist in the matters of the Hellpans and are instead tasking with helping the injured. We're on our way back from procuring herbs for Oyanje, in fact. Settlements on Kozamauka, too, have been isolated by the storm's destruction. What would have become of the wounded had we not found a way here? Should I become Dawn Servant, one of my first acts will be to establish reliable trade routes to the capital. When I imagine how much good we can achieve with Charlayan technology. Okay. How many of you are familiar with Peter the Great? I think it's Peter the Great, actually. Let me double check that. Yep, nope, Tsar of Russia. That's the one. Yeah, so, he's a horrible human being, obviously. But the relevant part is that he had this thing where he was just in love with the West, right? Like, he was like, oh man, Western culture, Western technology, Western everything. And it just replaced a few pieces, and here you go. Here's Koana. I know that's not actually 100%, but really, dude, this guy is so focused on Charlayan. Guy, come on. The Charlayans didn't even realize they were talking with bunnies. Okay, I'm just saying. Sorry, I should probably actually have in-game music playing. My apologies, I have much to consider, if you'll excuse us. Yeah, exactly. He took an exchange program and he felt... I mean, that's actually a thing that happens in real life. Someone will, you know, sojourn in another country for like a sabbatical or an educational thing or whatever, and they will just be like, oh my god, this place is so great, it's so great, it's so great, it's so great, it's so great. And Pillar Just Knows like, it's so great, it's so great, it's so great. Then I'm like, where, Pillar Just Know? Where is there in this godforsaken world that's great? Then Pillar Just Know draws her weapon. The grave! And then I fall over dead. Kingdom Hearts 1, Jedi Survivor, and Jedi Fallen Order. And 1 alpaca, and the dessert on top of it. Off we go. Da, da, da. Where am I going? Where am I going? This way, I think? Yeah, where's a place untouched by humans? Space! No, Look, I'm just saying, the Charlayans are cool, but at the same time, like, come on. Oh, that's a good point. Deep Sea is another place. I'm gonna set up my own, like, Bond villain lair under the ocean. Stream from, you know, 50,000 leagues under. By the way, this is an ether current, Tree Whisperer. On the off chance you haven't seen me do one of these yet. Can I get like a white shark plushie instead? If I'm remembering my Heaven's Ward lore correctly, and I'm probably not, there's a... so the ether currents are literal, right? In other words, the whole idea is we're running around sampling the ether in the area to make our chocobo become more familiar and comfortable with navigating the air. That probably hasn't really been in lore since Heaven's Word. But then again, I think the only flying chocobo that's mandated by MSQ, I don't know why I said that, the only flying mount that's mandated by MSQ is the chocobo, so I could be wrong about that, I don't know. It's not like my Magitech armor cares, or my interstellar space whale. And in case you think I'm joking, this is my interstellar space whale. It's an interstellar space whale. Oh, that's right. I forgot about the mana cutter. Boy, I haven't used that ever. I'm not sure, actually. I would like it more if it didn't look so damn organic. Like, this, and this looks less objectionable to me. Hi. Because, you know, this is just a friggin' whale. Don't worry. I always serve drinks on my interstellar whale, as you can see here. We've got quite an assortment and variety. Is that a cool breeze Rock feels? It's drafty shard. Here you go. Agreed, Lotaval. You don't have to sub to play WoW, Talia. Just like FF14. If you have an account, you have the game up to level 20. Just install it.
Yes, thank you for seeks. Oh god, the little seek finding drafty shard. Rakarok will add it to a new set of tools he bought. Yes.
And I come bearing good tidings. The cook has prepared a feast fit for the most discerning Pitsaro. It's on its way even as we speak. I can't even imagine that, Mad Overlord. Let's go and see what Kahi thinks of our efforts. Really, Talia? Well, allow me to tell you, with total certainty, that WoW does not require you to be subbed to play it. Unless they've changed something in the last, like, 4 months. I was wondering what occasion called for me to receive so many visitors. Especially when you already have an account. You need an account. You have to pay for WoW, remember. Once you have an account, you have an account. Here's how it works. Alright, I have a character. Level. Alright, I'm level 55, but I've decided to let my subscription lapse. Oh no. Okay, so the subscription has lapsed. You're level 55, you can't actually play that anymore, because it's over 20. It's still there, you just can't touch it. So you can log into your account, and you can see the characters you can't do, but what you can do is make a new character. And now here's your new character. They're free up to 20, at which point it starts saving your experience, like I just mentioned. Make sense? A fine meal, new tools, and a welcome source of cool air. Yeah, I remember why I signed a pot pact. I am grateful for your kind considerations. Allow me a moment or two, and I'll reciprocate with a piece worthy of a pot swarm. I really like this concept of pot swarm, by the way. This is really cool. That's going to require a driver's license, Talia said, or something similar. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that right now. My sister had to go through with that. An oil lamp to brighten the halls of Valak Shunza. This craftsmanship satisfies Earthenshire's reputation for quality, I trust.
Such luster, such brilliance. Truly a gift fit for the Dawn servant. Yes.
I'm glad you like it. Considering the time I've wasted till now, I hope to continue crafting at this improved pace. I have a contract to fulfill, after all. Forgive my interruption, but I'm here to screw with everything. Pulling out the sword. I'm told the Elector has deemed the crisis past and is prepared to task us with defeat. That's great, Thieves. Thank you for letting me know. So this is the craft of a pot swarm. It is indeed a masterful piece. Thank you for your words of praise, Second Promise. I drew inspiration from Kozamauka's natural beauty and sought to capture my work. I wondered why the Moblins did not simply build a workshop in the city. Now I have my answer. Even Charlayan goldsmiths could not easily replicate such exquisite artistry. One cannot create great things if one lacks creative impetus. Tuliolo, unfortunately, does not want for inspiration. Anyone wishing to learn the basics of a craft would do well to study it there. I was raised among Hitsaro, more traditional than most, and the shared ingenuity of Tural's various people was eye-opening. You lived as a traditional Hitsaro. I have few fond memories of nomadic life. Oh, by the way, don't forget, Talia, you can start downloading, and you don't need to download all of WoW. You can just need to hit the playable part of the download. If you're just testing to see if it runs well on your computer.
I thank you for both your hard work and clever guessing. When it comes to help handing, knowing the pot swarm really is important.
Well, that's true for pretty much everyone you meet. It's a lesson I've had drummed into me several times already on this journey. Hey, Wizard of Pog, I am enjoying quite a bit, as I think the score shows. Yes, you are correct, Talia. For all the crap that they do wrong, WoW is kind of shocking in several ways. No, the pot pact is so cool. Just by itself. Just wow. Mutually beneficial. The Elector bids the claimants assemble in the large building on the west side of the village. I'll head over after finding Thancred and Earthenshire. Oh, also, Ren and the Leveler twins on their way here. I took the liberty of directing them to the venue. Arrivals. It's not his job to make sure I know the feat is starting. But even now, he's conscientious to a fault. Anyway, let's not keep Red Rock waiting. Yeah, what this is kind of close to a commune. The 35th positive? So, technically the 35th positive is voice acting, but I haven't decided how many positives that is yet. So that's just sitting there as a question mark. But the new positive was for the very concept of the Potsworn, which I do think is fascinating, and they do some interesting stuff with it, including in the side quests we just did. Red Rock, thanks you for assisting Rock. We will announce the feat once the other claimants arrive, so please be patient a little while longer. Wow, we haven't heard this one in a minute. I'd almost forgotten. I'm happy to report we were able to convince one of the Potsworn to stay. How did you fare? Speaking of negatives, is it just me, or is there even less voice acting in the MSQ than there used to be? I know there's never really been voice acting in the side stuff, which aggravates me for separate reasons, but like, they really haven't been doing a lot of voice acting in the MSQ in this one. Like, it's weird. Welcome to Earthenshire. First promise, we support your plans for salt crossings and the new Potsworns they will bring. Hail the mighty Zorlja. He cleared many piles of rockfall as if they were pebblestones. The resilient son for Dawn Servant. Zorlja was clearing rocks. I'm surprised he would volunteer his time for anything unrelated to the contest. Oh well, we meet again. Oh hey, it's the idiot. I guess I should say idiots. Yeah, I was actually just about to say, based on timelines, this could have been a COVID game. We know that some of the patch content was, right? We were aware of that. And it's obvious because of the mic quality variance. So, maybe that was part of it? Maybe they just pulled the plug on some of it? Maybe they were doing some of the voice acting for FF16. Same studio, and a lot of the same actors. I don't know. Either way, the absence of voice acting has been weird. What tone should a Mass Effect TV series have in lore? I would probably most compare it to either the Battlestar Galactica reboot, or something like Babylon 5, I think. Claimants, your attention, please. As Red Rock explained, many of our Potsworns left us following the storm. The precious metal were crafted by the artisans bring us much jingly shine from across the salt. Should our stream of trade goods dry up, Earthenshire will suffer. Tulliola merchants will suffer. So Red Rock sets you this feat. Each of you are to find one clever hand goldsmith to bring back here to us. We're to recruit new Potsworn. Makes sense for the feat of Pots. Calling this a feat does not justify taking advantage of the claimants and their influence. How does finding workers for you demonstrate their worthiness for the throne? I'm evil, by the way. You are free to refuse Red Rock's request. She'll be happy to inform the Dawn Servant of Zorlja's disqualification. The rite is a means to an end. The steps we take to get there are not important. I don't see that's necessarily a bad thing, though, Mr. Floyd Pinkerton. I know that sounds strange, but even in the 90s, there was a value in 50s storytelling, you know what I mean? Voyager, Fallout, just to name two. Then Red Rock declares the feat of Pot's begun. Remember, a pact must be agreed to willingly. No grab snatching, no deceitful tongue claps. The lecture said nothing of taking a willing artisan from a rival. Which is exactly what we should do. Yes. Yes. Can we finally kill this jackass? He's just laughing. Oh my god, this dude. Fine suggestion, brother. I'm glad you think so, brother. So which one's liquid and which one's solid? The nasty brute is up to something. He was talking right in front of us. He may seek to delay us again as he did on the river. We must but remain vigilant while we plot our course. What do you think, Uklamat? Have any of the candidates in mind to satisfy this feat? Wow, this song is still playing. I know some artisans among my supporters, but they're all in twilight years. I couldn't ask them to give up the comforts of Tuliolo to live in this remote village, no matter how beautiful the scenery. Meanwhile, Koana probably has 100 young craftspeople to choose from. Not that I'm comparing us, just stating fact. Seriously, Rax. Let's just kill them all. I suppose we could try asking around Wuchu Meki Meki. Seems a logical place to start. Back to Tuliolo it is. Wait, does that mean we have to take the boat again? No, we can fast travel. Come on. No. No, I can't do it. I can't stomach another boat ride. We can You attuned, right? Oh my god, did you not attune? Wuklamat, did you not attune to the city of your home? You said I should share my burdens. I will speak plainly. The truth is, I get sick on boats. Oh my god, no! I'm so shocked by this revelation. Lore shock. Lore shock! Oh my god. Yeah, we know. This is hardly news. I mean, we know Thancred had a whole thing about teleporting. Like, right? That was a thing in Endwalker. Getting to Radzat-Han. We had to use a special, unique way to teleport there without being attuned there. Yeah, thank you, meme cartoon rat. Somebody remembers. It's brave of you to admit it. In any case, we won't be fighting the current. Heading downriver will be much smoother. We can teleport in lore! We can teleport to other worlds in lore. No, we can teleport to the end of conceptual reality in lore. That's true. We can also travel through time at will in lore. See, that's space, that's time, that's reality. Is there anything left? We haven't been to the land of the dead. Oh, no, we have. What obstacle will Bakul Jaja throw at us next? Or will we try something more direct? We mentioned the Potsworn in our care required a constant stream of encouragement to craft. The four of us must have chanted the same cheer dozens, if not hundreds of times. Aaronville was scolded more than once for not cheering loudly enough. What? I've procured many unusual items for clients, but meeting the personalized needs of a Potsworn is not an experience I'd care to repeat. I need a moment. Upriver, downriver. It's too rough for me. The nausea is a bit more bearable now that I've stopped trying to hide it, but I'd still rather not set a foot in a boat if I can help it. Alright. You know, that's a good point, Talia, because you're right. They do mention specifically using the Tower of Zot several times to get stuff up there. That happened during the Zero quest chain, for example. Now, that was kind of a bulk thing, though, wasn't it? Like, weren't we moving a ton of crystals up there? Actually, yes, FM Elward. It's even brought up when the problem of getting the others back is brought up, if you remember that. Someone actually flat out says, why doesn't he just take us with him? And they mention, well, he could, the Warrior of Light could, but that would be tricky and risky, so why don't we find something safer instead? Wachimeki is a gathering spot for skilled artisans of all time. For to find a pot-sworn candidate, I can think of no better place to begin our search. So this is Wachimeki that Wuklamat was talking about. I didn't have to make it this far in my wanderings. Anvil brought us here on our first tour of the city, but time did not permit a closer look. I should like to observe these masters at work. Surely this one person will answer Wuklamat's call for a potsworn. Maybe Rester Bropley can help us. Fresh harbor air is just what I needed. Okay, in with the good air, out with the bad. That's how I used to deal with that. Greetings, Third Promise. What brings you to here? You've not chipped your axe again, have you? No, Master Ropley. Actually, I have a favor to ask. So what do you think? Do you know of any craftsmen who might be interested? Filching my artisans for the moblins, huh? Well, seeing as it's the Third Promise making the request, I'm willing to look the other way if one of them decides to take you up on the offer. Only I can't think of a suitable candidate off the top of my head. What do I know with a mastery of goldsmithing that would also have no qualms about relocating to Earthenshire? The Eorzean. What about him? You mean like Fontaine? He did say he was employed at some fancy jewelry store across the Salt. During the distance he's already come, I'd like to think he wouldn't mind moving a little up the river. That said, he's only just got himself a new job. Is it too soon to ask him to sign a pot back? There's no harm in making the offer. Once he hears how well the potsworn are treated, he may even jump at the chance. Either way, we won't find Fuzz at his workshop this hour. He's finished for the day. Probably enjoying a meal. Okay. Interestingly enough, WoW's kind of the same way. Portals are a thing in lore, but they're almost universally used as a gameplay mechanism, not actually a lore thing. Hearthstones exist in lore too, but Hearthstones in lore are crazy rare. Like, realistically speaking, there's probably like 5 people in Warcraft's story that actually have Hearthstones. Not counting the player characters. I mean, that's what I assumed, Spartan. Considering. Actually, if you'll permit me an indulgence. Is that cool? Can I do an indulgence? Is that acceptable? I'm trying to find something. It's taking longer than I thought it would, honestly. Should have been right here. Come on. Okay, hang on. found this the other day so effortlessly, and now I can't find it at all now that I'm streaming. Of course. Oh. So, I'm going to skip the prelude. Here's a set of rules about how to use portals in Warcraft. This is in lore, by the way. Remember, a portal most used is a portal most efficient. Most persons using a single portal cause no further stress to the ley lines and is encouraged. A portal pooling program is in the works that'll give tax breaks to any mages who create portals for no less than 5 persons. Read your latest issue of Kirin Tor Monthly to see the progress of the portal pooling program. Second, while a properly used portal is just as safe as your average Zeppelin trip, maybe more so considering the engineering practices of the goblins, an improperly used portal can potentially yield dire results. Here's a list of some immutable regulations for proper portal usage. Rule 1. Do not create a portal to anywhere but designated Kirin Tor drop-off zones. The most dangerous aspect of the portal is that its vast potential. We realize it's easy for a mage to create a door to anywhere, so our only way to combat such potentially lethal acts is make it punishable by death. Special issue license D6 permits open portal usage, but is rarely issued. Speak with your local portal trainer about qualifying for this license. Rule 2. Create a portal in its proper place, in the proper way. Do not create a portal beneath the feet of someone. Do not linger halfway in and out of a portal. The portal is not a garbage disposal. The portal is not a shield. Do not use the portal like an umbrella. Do not use the portal like a shelter from the elements. Do not back out of a portal after partially entering it. Do not try and grab the edges of the portal either from the inside or the outside. A portal does not have handlebars to assist usage, and disruptions of its boundaries are very dangerous. Rule 3. Never force or trick someone through a portal. Not only is this a great way to lose repeat customers, it is incredibly dangerous. Rule 4. Do not have someone who is currently polymorphed enter a portal. This has yet to not cause an explosion. This is also covered in the Polymorphic Rules and Regulations handbook. Rule 5. This is my personal favorite. Do not remove the liquid filter from a portal spell. Portals innately prevent large amounts of flowing water through them so they can be cast underwater. To allow for water elementals to use a portal, the filter can be omitted when casting. Do not omit this one underwater. We feel obligated to mention the moderately severe claims disaster case 34-ZZ, the Great Lakeshire Drought, and the Great Iron Forge Flood of 24 AD. Honestly, ditto, Rag. Listen, it's fine, Dream Whisperer, it's fine. Actually, dragons don't polymorph in Warcraft lore. Hang on, let me explain that slightly more. Dragons can change shape to a specific other shape. It's their other side. They call it their, oh god, they have a term for it. It's a whole cultural thing. Yeah, it's a book from Dollar and Fife. I can't think what it's... The Visage, I want to say? Yes, the Visage. I'm right. So your Visage is something you kind of decide upon. And once you have it, and once it's crafted, that's your other body, right? So that, it isn't... I know that sounds strange, but it's not actually polymorphing. It's more like flipping a switch, if that makes any sense. So, like, if you chop off their arm as a Visage, they're going to still have arm damage when they're in their dragon form, and vice versa, because it's the same... It's the same form. It's still them. It's still their body. Make sense? You can also thus kill a dragon in Visage form or in dragon form, and it applies equally. Laura, you're here too. The third promise said she wanted to chat. I just finished eating, so shall we find a quiet spot outside? The last time we talked on this beach, you were in a miserable state. I was, wasn't I? A lost soul until the two of you came along and helped me rediscover my purpose. My purpose is to craft the most beautiful... My new place of employment has been most welcoming, and for the first time in a long time, I feel content with my lot in life. That's wonderful. So what does he wish to discuss? We want you to leave that. I've heard my new colleagues mention the term. That's when an artisan signs a contract to work for the Moblins, isn't it? But you're not a Moblin. I'm not sure I understand. It's for a feat in the right of succession. I need to bring a new potsworn to Earthenshire. So that's the way of it. We've barely met. Then after pushing you to work at Wachu Meki Meki, I'm now demanding you throw away and sign a pact instead. It's a selfish request, I know. I have something to tell you, Third Promise. The other day I completed the necessary procedures for immigration. Pleased to say I'm now an official subject. Oh my god, it took him only days to immigrate legally. Could you imagine? Could you imagine I could be living in Germany right now? Or Sweden? Or New Zealand? Just, oh, okay, you know what? I need to move. Yeah, Final Fantasy. I've since endeavored to learn what I can of my new nation, beginning with the right of succession and its claimants, including you, of course. Now you will recall it was my father's example which led me to pursue goldsmithing. He was at East End when Garlean forces laid siege to the settlement, and in the ensuing chaos he was slain. War took him from me in an instant, the man I loved and admired. I never wish to suffer such a loss again. And so, as much as I'm indebted to you for turning my life around, it's as a fellow peace-loving Tuliolian that I want... Tuliolian, there we go. Missed a step. And I want you to win the throne. If I can help you achieve that by signing a pot pack, I shall gladly do so. Aw, thank you. I shall return to Master Ropley and inform him of my decision. Allow me. I'm the reason you're leaving. I should be the one to deliver the news. Actually, to my knowledge, there is, Mad Overlord. There's a lot of work that the mages of the Kirin Tor do to self-police, and that's probably one of them. Perhaps you remember me? Baruch Evu? Actually, I do. You're Wuklamot's ally from across the salt, right? And a hero of some renown, too, if the gossips to be believed. As it happens, I could use some heroic help. It doesn't need to be right now, but could you come by when you have a spare moment? See, I've got a trial I need you to do. There's a god nearby, and gods need killing. You know, access role quests. Should we do them as we level, or should we save them for at the end? What do you think? Spoilers, we couldn't do them now anyways if we wanted to do them right now. But, how do you want to approach that? What do you think? Actually, let me check that. Maybe we could start it. Feels like I just set up a poll for this. It actually is not. Rax says do them as we level. I forget how we did Endwalkers. I know how we did Shadows, but that was kind of a... There wasn't really a lot of choice on that one. It was all already out. There, quick poll. Good vote, please. Well, you vote on that. I can't mount here, of course. Oh god, Jato, no, no. Master Ropley, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but Fongentain? I don't know. He's agreed to the Pond Pact, yes? Pot Pact. Well, it's a shame to lose such a capable goldsmith. To have one of our own handpicked to serve the Third Promise is a great honor for Wachu Meki Meki. I appreciate your understanding. Now or later is what it boils down to, Czar. Of course, if you happen to know any other talented artisans, regardless of their expertise, I hope you send them my way. You can even be yourself if you're so inclined. I will never do the crafting quest. Never! Though my time here was brief, I will not forget your kindness, Master Ropley. I am blessed to have worked these workshops in my first home in Tuliolo. Come back to us if the moblins cut you loose. You'll always have a job here. I expect you'll want to leave for the Earthenshire as soon as possible. I'll go pack my things. What became of Bob? Were you able to find him? We did. He's agreed to come on Potsworn. We'll leave when he's ready, but we have a little time. Splendid. We will meet you anon. I had plenty of reasons to winning the contest, but now I have one more. He's put his faith in me, and I won't let him down. Now do deliveries. Which we will not do. Ever. Ever! Wait, hang on. Oh my god, I can't even... I literally can't imagine that blade tool. Right then, we have some things to take care of at the palace. You should head back to the cabins. Even heroes need to have a rest. Do we? Is that a thing we... Okay. So the poll says... that it went off my screen. Hang on a second. The poll overwhelmingly says later. And Rax says there's a specific pause point to do it. So I can accept that. Why are there more side quests? Why are there side quests? I'm in a pickle. Can't exactly deliver the order if I'm lost now, can I? Curse these twisting streets. You there with your decidedly unflappable composure. You know your way around these streets, yes? Could you pay a visit to my customers and let them know I've brought their orders? Brilliant. I'll be looking at 2 different houses in the resplendent quarter. Deep blue with yellow walls and feather decorations that hang from the eaves. It's a very eloquent Hanu Hanu. Okay. Second is a rather voracious moblin. Sky blue walls, yellow roof, storehouse, decorative boss. Okay, let me just mount up for this. What's really funny is pound for pound, FF14 doesn't have that many compared to, say, like the absolute monster that is Lotro. Like, you think I just did MSQ and I unlocked 3 side quests in town. Imagine that, but it's actually 15, and that's Lotro. Not an exaggeration, by the way. That's just Lotro. That's per unlock, by the way. There's not 15 quests in the zone. Each time you do an unlock thing, 15 quests pop up. Sometimes it's more. Yeah, there's a reason I've actually mandated that I will never cover Lotro. While there's some definitely good stuff in there, and it is a very good Lord of the Rings game, it's never ending. For lack of a better way to put it. It is the eternal thing. Good night, 040. A visitor. Come in, enjoy a welcome respite from the heat. Yeah, I've got... Oh, there you are. Yeah, I've got a thing for you. Oh, you mean my package has arrived? I had some dried reeds imported from Okano, you see. Ordered them as soon as I heard the crops had recovered. Though I may live in Tuliolo now, I will always keep my homeland close to heart. To a Hano like myself, there is no greater comfort than the smell of reeds when I walk in the door. Speaking of which, I better go fetch them, hadn't I? There's a few areas I could do a bit of touching up. Oh, I think someone might be following me. I don't know, it's just a vibe I'm getting. I wouldn't worry about it too much. So the other one was blue, I think? Blue. Yep, okay. Not that house. Yeah, no kidding, Mount Overlord. Special order of mold flowers here at last. I'll have the ingredients to crafty bake loaves of rot bread. Heard of mold flour? A mixy blend of wheat and mycotoxins with a sweet stink smell. In Earthenshire, all breads and cookies are crafty baked with it. Essential element of traditional Mabi cuisine. Since stingy shopkeepers of Tuliolo refuse to stock it, probably for health reasons, my only option was to bulk buy with a Pelo goods dealer. I'll go back and bring back my package. Many thanks to the kind lowlander. Gross. Actually, yeah, the ice cubes dilute the alcohol or something like that. And a lot of people forget that temperature is actually an aspect of flavor when it comes to liquids. Mister, will you help me? Earlier today I got a pretty painting of the city from a Shatona painter. I showed it to my mom and she really liked it. Then she sent me to deliver this fruit as a thank you gift, but now the painter isn't here anymore. I don't know what to do. Could you help me look around? Yeah, sure, kid. Okay, the painter's gonna make one more picture, like this. Okay. Depends on the food, but in general I do prefer warm food over cold. Just in general. Why would I need the child? That's ridiculous. Having to have a child with me. Ugh. How preposterous. How ridiculous. How crazy. Anyway, so apparently I need to get the child with me. Might make this harder. Alright, hop on. Let's fly up there. How do I fly? Just don't think about it too much. Yeah, step 1. Hold on. Here's the same damn tutorial that plays every single... Oh my god. Hi, Roiting. Why does that play every single time you have an escort quest? 100% of the time. But, like, MSQ quests have this kind of a mechanic. And they also are like, every time, hey, she's following you around for a bit, just so you know. In case you don't remember the last 15 times you did this. More to the right. I just... I guess that is the easy answer, is it's just there for the many possible reasons why you might have somehow magically skipped all the other times, so they just put it on every single time. But, okay. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to give a negative for every step I took. Wow, no, come on. Greetings, traveler. Oh, I see you brought little Mamulja from earlier. I was looking all over for you. My mom said to give you this as thanks for the pretty painting. You came all this way to thank me with a snack. You're far too kind, little one. 'Twas little more than... a doodle. I was rewarded enough by the smile on your face. I take it you're her chaperone, then. Thank you for looking out for her. This town has a special place in my heart. We Shitona are a long-lived people, and I've had good fortune of watching this community sprout up from nothing. I used to think this country would never amount to much, but seeing all these vibrant cultures thriving alongside another in harmony, I wish to immortalize its beauty with what talent yet remains to me. You must really love Tuliyola, huh? Well, no worry, me and my mom are going to love your paintings forever and ever and ever. It's an honor, little one. Now then, seeing as I finished my current painting, I think it's time I find a new vista to admire. See you around, friends. I never really thought about how pretty our town is. I feel like... You see, I learned something today. Thanks again for helping with the painting, mister. I'm going to take good care of this picture. I will. Here you go. Here, this is for you. I do wonder. I feel like there might be someone nearby. That's fine. No one's trying to assassinate me. It's fine. WoW, for those of you not aware, has a freeze experience gain thing where you can just lock yourself at a certain level. Now you might think, why? But actually there's several reasons to do that. Not the least of which being able to experience content at a certain level, to do artificial raid stuff, or because you're PvPing within a certain range, or because you're grouping with a certain range, or, this is a new one, because you like gathering the materials on a time-walking thing and you want to stay as powerful as possible. But here's the thing. Yeah, twinking, of course. I'm not sure if FF14 has a feature like that. Does anybody know if there's a pause experience button in 14? I say button. The problem with WoW is that it's an NPC you go talk to. It does need to be a menu option. Breathtaking, isn't it? I'd wager you'd be hard-pressed to find a more majestic drum anywhere. Alas, exposed to the elements, it requires a lot of upkeep, which is what we of the Fief and Drum Corps can in. Speaking of which, what's taking them so long? Say, you strike me as the dependable sort. Might I trouble you to find our new recruit? He was tasked with handling today's inspection. Given how long it's taking him, it's possibly around a bit of trouble. I'm supposed to be supervising things here. Check behind the tower and you should find him. Yeah, speaking of dumb, weird, like, spaghetti code solutions to things. So you know how in FF14 I could just be like, you know what? I feel like queuing for Zorkai. And I could just do that, right? That's a great feature. WoW needs that. And here's the really strange part. WoW has that feature, but only in a really weird way. So, what you have to do is you have to go talk to Chromie, enter Chromie time for the expansion in question where you want to go do the dungeon at the level of requirement. Then, once you enter Chromie time, all of a sudden your queue, you know, this button right here, will suddenly and rapidly change to the dungeons available for that particular expansion, which you don't have access to otherwise. And it's like, why? You literally have the tech in the game. You literally have the tech available in the game to allow me to go do that for a previous expansion. Why can't I just do that in general? And yeah, there's also a couple of asterisks with regards to Chromie time, because it is very much a patchwork fix to several problems. I do like Chromie time overall, but it needs some polishing. Can I help you? Wait, the drum major sent you? Oh god, I wasted too much time. I've already finished checking the drum of the tower, mind you. I just had to go drop my tools, and now I can't find them. Will you help me look? Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, from the perspective of doing an MSQ, Chromie time is fantastic. Hey, you know what? I feel like doing BC to level a new character. You are now in BC. Go level. Have fun. Done. That's fantastic. But then, like, there are other issues with it. Like, it tends to layer you out of people who are in or are not in Chromie time. So, like, for example, let's say I'm grouping with Mr. Red, and we go back to BC, and I can't see him because he's in Chromie time BC. He's in the past. So it's like, oh. Look, I don't know, Mr. Red, but if you know anything about me, you may or may not know I'm pretty pro-player choice. I think you're right, Spartan. That's why when I did Quest Sync, which is, by the way, another new feature, that solved it. So, Quest 64 was before we chopped off the Oblivion line. But, coincidentally, Anthem was before the Oblivion line. Yeah, Quest Sync is actually a pretty good feature. It essentially says, alright, such and such in your party is doing older quests that you've already done. Okay, you are now in the world state that they're in. Good luck. Oh, I'm so glad you found them. You're a lifesaver, truly. If I dared to report back without them, the Major would have grilled me to a fine char. With that settled, I must return to my other duties. I'd be most grateful if you could inform the Major on my behalf. If you type !Oblivion, Arcanvale, you should actually get an answer for that. And last I checked, Anthem is dead, although I've heard rumors to the contrary, and I've never followed through on those. So, Chromie time allows you to go back to BC. Darkrai. Oh, and I just lost Twitch. Oh, there goes Twitch. Nobody likes Twitch anyways. Least of all, Jeff Bezos. There you are. I'm told you helped our friend find the inspection kit after he dropped it. Your generosity means more to our community than you might realize. This drum is essential for protecting the well-being of our people. It not only marks the time of day, but also honors the Landsguard returning home from duty. And in times of crisis, it can be used to warn the populace from danger. I must keep it in pristine condition at all times, but when it shows up later, in the plot. It takes tremendous upper arm strength to beat a drum of this scale. And as a major, my job is to pound our greenest recruits into shape and kill stormtroopers with our frickin' mallets. Looks like Twitch has stopped twitching for a second. So, to repeat myself, because I just got 3 questions in a row. First of all, okay, looks like Archeon Vale got the Oblivion thing. Anthem, to my knowledge, is turbo dead. I haven't 100% verified that, but I have seen nothing to contradict it. And Darkrai asks, does Chromie Time allow for pre-Kata? So Chromie Time goes back to BC. In other words, I could Chromie Time BC, Wrath, Kata, Pandaria, Warlord Legion, DFA, Shadowlands, and I think Dragonflight, actually. I haven't checked Dragonflight for obvious reasons. The only thing that you cannot do is access vanilla. You need Classic to access vanilla. I see you managed to find them. Thanks to you, the packages have safely reached my customers' claws? Actually, one thing I will, just hit refresh to Toho. One thing I will give WoW credit, and I will, is if you have a sub to WoW, you have a sub to Classic. There is absolutely nothing preventing you from going and making a brand new character to experience vanilla just whenever you feel like it. So, that is a nice feature. I know that sounds strange, but as a reminder, there were certain people, Bobby Kotick, who's trying very, very hard to make it so you had to pay a separate subscription for Classic. And thankfully, he was shouted down on that. Did you come here from Eorzea? Yes. Give me my money. Seriously, Rax. Agreed. What? I love FF14 to death, and, well, I might even like FF11 sometime. But they really need to fix their back end. Really, really, really badly. I've told horror stories of this. So many people I know, including me, technically, have gone through hoops when it's like, okay, I just need to resub. Okay, this? Nope. Okay, hang on. Is this how I resub? Nope. Okay, hang on. How complicated it is probably depends on your particular computer literacy. But there is definitely a barrier to entry just to subbing to FF14, and there probably shouldn't be. Welcome back, sir. You had a Landsguard messenger, mostly anxiously waiting on your return. The lore of the third promises entourage, looking all over the city for you. The Dawn servant summons you to the palace. You are to present yourself to the gate guard summoned outside Sunperch at your earliest convenience. Oh, and one other thing, you're not to mention this to Wolf Lamat. Okay. Sure. Yeah, some of you probably remember, this is not my first FF14 account. My first FF14 account is just gone. Lost to the ether. I'm not actually even 100% sure what specifically happened to it. It might be the thing Bergman just mentioned. I'm not sure. It is gone. Lore Runner is a more recent addition to my career of playing FF14. That's not what I was expecting to see up here. Well, this should be interesting. Oh, now Apollotas is going to kill me. While I was not informed of the reason for your audience, in terms of attire, I would suggest full battle regalia. Okay.
Forgive me these sudden summons. When I learned my daughter's champion was back in the city, I couldn't resist the opportunity.
Yeah, I can guess where this is going. Oh wow. Go figure, Blood Dogs. I wonder how many people are even still playing.
And they call me head of resolve for good reason. Old as I am, I have not lost a battle worthy of the name since the day I took the throne. And I've been craving a proper challenge. The lance wielder, Estinian, he fought well enough, but our bout was ended before a victor could be decided. Judging by the sailors' gossip, you are a warrior of renown in your homeland.
Only a little bit, really.
Yet I wonder, with all your deeds done and victories won, are you warrior enough to stand against me?
I don't know, I did see myself doing that in the trailer. As long as neither of us gets too carried away.
Not even the slightest hint of fear. I knew you were no pretender.
Dude, I've killed gods. Really?
The battle rages upon me. I'll stop short of killing you, of course. But expect no other mercies. Come! Ready your arms and show me the truth of the tales.
I mean, yeah, we're just... This is continuing the theme of the vacation. And once again, kind of contrasting this from a certain
Give it your all!
warrior of Garlemald.
What a fight to remember! Let's test the waters.
Yeah, sorry, I'm actually the king now, whoop. I be.
I see you know the Viper style. Ha! Let's see how you handle this.
Yeah, I noticed they acknowledged the Viper. I even have Viper at 100.
Very well, then. Resolve and Wisdom Kingdom. All right.
Yeah, your other head's asleep, buddy.
Did you think you had my measure? Take this!
holding up?
I don't know what that means. That's a good question, Dream Whisperer.
We're far from finished! No more holding back!
Probably Logue. Then again, Ranjit could beat the crap out of us, so who knows?
Stay alert! You fight well indeed!
Yeah, I mean, Ranjit was essentially straight up cheating, gameplay and narratively. I don't mind things in general if you earn it more. That's been true for a lot of games for me. Yeah, it's another thing. Galul Jaja isn't just absolutely curb stomping us effortlessly like Ranjit was. So this is better like twice. Oh no, they totally can, Rex, 100%. They're like, can you feel that? Nah, I wouldn't worry about it. The king just invited the Warrior of Light in. Oh, okay. Actually, what would probably happen is the townsfolk would be like, oh my god, and then the people in town who know us are like, oh, okay, yeah, got it. Don't worry about it, don't worry about it. I mean, if you remember, one of the things they mentioned was that when he went to save the Hanu Hanu, he fought so ferociously that he actually shredded most of the town in the process. Now, he felt bad about that and helped recover from it, but the point remaining, that was him actually trying. I get for doing this as a tank. On the plus side, my health is not moving, but on the bottom side, we're still here. Scholar. Oh my god. That sounds like fun, in certain definitions of the word.
Really are formidable.
Yeah, at some point we'll get old too. Die horribly. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting it even exists in this Corp. Quite honest with you.
Now we'll see what you're truly made of. That will do. You've shown me more than enough. I brought my full strength to bear against opponents before, but you are the first to withstand it.
I did no damage to you. How did you survive?
What are you talking about? That was fun.
It was?
Even with my head of reason asleep, I never expected you to give me so much trouble. Estinian did not exaggerate. You are a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I needed the stretch, thanks. I've been getting stiff lately.
Now, a confession. I said I crave a challenge, and that was no lie. But I had another reason for calling you here. I had to judge for myself if you were fit to attend my beloved daughter.
Which you did by trying to beat the crap out of me? Failing, but trying.
In some respects, she is much like me. Hard-headed and prone to rush into danger. But one with your adamant defense could shield Lamati from those who would do her harm. Will you hear my question and answer me plainly? Address me not as the ruler of Tuliyola, but a concerned father. Thank you. Then tell me, given your journey together thus far, what is your impression of Lamati? Whether he be as their promise or just a companion on the road. Speak your mind.
I've actually already answered this question like 3 times on stream.
Ha! A tactful response, but agreed. She is not ready for the throne. Not yet. Lama Ti thinks she understands our many peoples. Their histories, their cultures, their beliefs. But she knows only what she's seen in the capital. And it's not only her who concerns me. Even this early in the contest, you must have realized. As potential rulers, all 4 claimants are lacking.
Oh yeah.
This is why I elected to hold the right of succession. Not to choose a fitting candidate, but to cultivate one. And if no one has impressed me by the end of it, then to no one will I yield my throne. As a parent, I pray that my children rise to the occasion.
I'm sure your warmonger son totally will.
With outsiders dragged into my game, I am also hopeful that the different perspectives you and your companions have to offer will inspire them to grow. I imagine you in particular have traveled many lands, know many peoples and cultures, loved them and being loved in turn. Guide Lama Ti as you think best. Walk at her side and, when needed, push her to walk ahead.
I knew it. There I was, about to sit down for some of Namika's cooking, when I heard that Papa had sent for you. You were dueling behind my back, weren't you?
I see there is no point in denying it. You needn't worry, daughter. I took care not to inflict lasting injuries.
Dude, you literally didn't move my L.
You and your ally may return to the contest without disadvantage. No harm done.
I swear, just as I was learning newfound respect for my father. Let's take our leave of this battle-mad oaf before he calls on the rest of my entourage.
Watch over her, champion. Kona's recruits are no less sharp, as one might expect of Galof's countrymen. They saw the flaws in our claimants from the outset. The other 2, though, they dismiss comrades willing to point out their shortcomings, and no good can come of it.
And this music is a perfect encapsulation of that scene. Any questions? If he had his way, Papa would keep dueling until the day he dies. Even now, I know of only 3 people who didn't need to be carried away after their bouts. Zeralja, Estinian, and you. Zeralja is going to be a trial boss, isn't he? You really do live up to your fearsome reputation. I'm curious, did Papa want anything else of you? Just a sparring partner. Oh, that's all it was. I still haven't gone back to get one bite of Namika's food thanks to Papa's nonsense, so I'm going to finish my plate. I've otherwise asked everyone to meet me at the cabins. Come join us after you've recovered, yeah? Oh, it totally does, Rax. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he is going to be the final boss. Him, or like whatever eldritch abomination he turns into. Where am I? Oh god. Oh god. I've been told chocolate with alcohol is a good combination. I've been told that because it's a lie. But I've been told it. Sorry to keep everyone waiting. If we go into a Cave of Wonders dungeon, I swear to God, Rax. Is that it? You all set to go? I left Eorzea prepared to travel in search of work, so I had few belongings to begin with. Bidding farewell to my fellow artisans rather took a lot of time, however. Again, I appreciate you making this commitment. Shall we depart for Earthenshire, then? A word before you go. For I am the great and powerful Hildebrand 2.0. Ukivu, what are you doing here? I spend my days correcting matters in Iran, perpetuating the grave offense of delaying the third promise's departure. Please take up your axe and rend my flesh unto taco meat. You heard him. Ugh. Oh wait, I'm a paladin right now. Damn it. Okay, Yura, I need you to bring your axe in here, okay? Or Rax? Look, I just need someone who's got a warrior, okay? Must your demands be so gruesome? Besides, I told you that kind of thing doesn't bother me. Alright then, I won't let it bother me either. Oh my god. What was all this about? I'd come to the city to purchase supplies when I spotted your entourage getting ready to leave. You seek the City of Gold, if I'm not mistaken. That's right. It's the final step of the rite of succession. If you know anything about the subject, I'd love to hear it. As you know, the legends of... He says it, not me. The legends of the Golden City have been passed down in Tural for 1,000 years. Yet when it comes to describing the place itself, the stories do not always agree. Some portray it as one might expect. A glittering metropolis of golden towers. Others suggest it's more unassuming and owes its name to a fabulous treasure hidden in its hearts. Some people say it's an ancient, giant, mechanical monstrosity built from a more advanced age. That's a bunch of ancient precursors in the past who used robots and spaceships. Every telling, however, has a common thread. Those who go in search of the Golden City do not return. I mean, we've seen what the inside of the Cave of Wonders looks like in Kingdom Hearts 1. Just saying. That's another thing. The Alligans have had, like, no influence out here. Did they limit themselves to one continent? Like, those people built a moon. The lesson to be learned from this third promise is to seek the legend is to court death. Must implore you to proceed with the utmost care. That's all I wish to say. I will pray for your safe journey. Thank you, Wukivu. See, I'm not going to give it a negative. Or am I? But that's the problem when you make some ludicrously advanced people in your backstory. Like, I mean, we stretched across this planet with boats, you know what I mean? No, really. Look it up sometime. There's not been unsettled land, at least in, like, regions on this planet for millennia. It seems our legend originated with the Yokhui. Speaking with them remains our strongest lead, I feel. A lead we shall follow in time, but first let us see if it's safely into the Moblins' care. That's true, Aqualitas, but then we have all the other ancient advanced precursors we have. Also true, US and Core. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm bringing up, Drunkillorn. We know why this place is brand new and untouched by our history, and that's because it didn't exist when they were writing that history. That's life. That's the reality of when you're writing something like this, and I understand that. But it does kind of make me raise an eyebrow a little bit.
Finding a willing artisan was even easier than expected. Many indeed are eager to curry favor with the Resilian sun, especially if it means sharing the promise of new territories.
Those who prove useful will have all the land they desire.
Such generous words, yet the manner in which he speaks them. If neither wealth nor territory are of value, wherefore does he seek to bring the world to heel?
Didn't he tell you outright? He wants everyone to feel pain so they can appreciate peace more. Which is a motive.
Step aside.
Remind me. There was no rule against poaching craftsmen from other claimants. Was there?
Okay, if you kill Two-Headed Bully Boy without me even getting a chance to fight him, I'm going to be upset.
Do not be foolish, Bakul Jaja.
Foolish would be carrying on with these dull feats when all I need to win are the keystones.
And besides, it's long past time I humble this arrogant one-head. The Dawntrail may have sired you against all odds, but there is nothing blessed about your birth.
Alright, who'd you put money on? Place your bets, place your bets.
Only a two-head is fit to rule. Only we are worthy. Draw your weapon! Face me in battle, and learn your place.
Does everyone fight as a viper out here? Jeez Louise.
A moment, first promise. Leave him alive, if you would. I foresee a use for this nuisance.
Oh, great.
Too scared to make the first move?
You're an idiot. Whoever goes first has the weaker position. Anybody can tell you that. Seriously, little Billy? Wow.
But he's just a runt.
Dude, you provided the power for that rush. It's basic martial artistry.
My thanks for your restraint. I can kill him whenever I please.
Your part in this is far from over.
Yeah, you go up there. So Little Billy brings up something fascinating, which has been bouncing around the back of my head. Which I'll talk about in a second. Or, there's no voice acting. Why is there no voice acting? So, Little Billy is absolutely correct. All it would take is an additional localized calamity between the 4th and now over on Tyrol to completely just etch-a-sketch this area. Because here's the thing. There is 0% chance the Ancients were not involved in these continents, right? The Ancients were a global power, and their plans were at a global scale. So, QED, right? But the thing is, that doesn't mean they have to do the same thing everywhere or with the same people everywhere. It would not surprise me if whatever it is that caused the Giants, the Hokui, to withdraw has something to do with that, and if there's something left over here from either whoever was before such a calamity hit here, or something is left over from what caused that additional calamity over here. You know, either an etch-a-sketch situation or as a part of another attempt in order to try and remerge the planets. Yeah, there could literally be elegant ruins out here. They could also be ancient ruins out here. It's a good question. It's been a while, after all. I guess I'm explaining this badly. You know how we have like 3 or 4 precursor races back in Eorzea? We could have another one here, right? And it fell for the same reason all the other ones fell. Because the Ancients got involved. We're back. We brought with us a willing pot swarm. This is Fonjantain, a talented goldsmith who once worked at Estame's Aesthetics in Ul'dah. Wonderful. Impressive. You are the first to return, Third Promise. With an artisan across the salt, no less, we welcome you and your unique skills to Earthenshire. Help Hand will show you the work pot. Please take care of him. I feel bad for dragging him out here. This is it. I look forward to hearing you proclaim Dawn Servant. Thank you, Fonjantain. I'll be sure not to disappoint you. I didn't intend anything by it, Little Billy. You're right. I've been using them completely synonymously. See you around, Drax. I'm going to chop off soon-ish, I think. Although I'm kind of curious how long it is to my next dungeon. And or trial. If anybody knows. You have met the requirements of the Feat of Pots. Ready Rock presents your keystone with joy smiles of well-wishing. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not complaining, but I don't think I'll even try to reach it tonight, then. Next 3. More Potsworn candidates. Come, come, tell Red Rock your tales. Another feat accomplished, another keystone acquired. You are doing well. I expected nothing less of Zoralja's esteemed siblings. Your cleverness in particular is most admirable, Second Promise. We must have you apply that Charlayan magic you so cherish, and arm Tyrell with weapons of Magitech design. He does not deserve that song. In your role as the new chief advisor, of course. The tools of war hold no interest to me, for I am the Cid of this nation. I wish only to improve our nation through practical innovations. Foreign powers will think twice about testing our strength when Tuliolo is known for its advanced technology. Just like the Garlean Empire was deterred from invading Charlayan. That may well be true, but how long will it take Tuliolo to progress to this advanced state? How many years? Dude, do you know how hard it is to build an army? To invent weapons? years, maybe. With a collective commitment to education and hard work, it should not take so very. Your way is too slow. Easier to expand our territory and swallow Charlayan whole. Conquer other nations through force of arms, and you're looking at a future of uprising and bloodshed. Yours wouldn't be the first failed empire, or the second, or the third, or the fourth, or the fifth, or the sixth. Then we keep fighting until the mounting cost convince them to lay down their weapons, until all have grown tired of loss. Yeah, that's how that works. I can't tell if he's blowing smoke, and I'm not sure what he's really after. Or if he really believes what he's saying, and he's just an idiot. How would such an outcome bring anyone joy? What you propose is a mockery of peace. Bitterrock is reminded of days long ago. In time before Tuliolo, there were no potsworns for the potsworn. It was normal to grab snatch artisans and force them to work for mobbies. Until the day Galul Jaja arrived. The families of the grab snatch pleaded with him, and so he came to Earthenshire. Mobbies are not a warm-make people. We feared death had come for us, but Galul Jaja just wanted to talk. There's his adventuring party again. Notice he doesn't actually have the model in this time. Be at ease. We're here to trade words, not blows. The gold work crafted in this village is superb. One can tell at a glance the quality of the materials used and the mastery of technique employed. Oh, it would, Jitoho. Anybody poking Charlayan now is going to get, like... You know what a coalition war is, right? Because those are ugly. It does not stir the heart. A goblet shaped by bound hands and broken spirit is devoid of luster. Compare that now to the works of a joyful artisan. She pours her very soul into her creations, and they shine like the newly risen sun. Have you not seen this to be true? And so began the custom of good living. Happy potsworn make good works, and good works make mobbies happy. Galul Jaja's words were wise. Joy smiles did indeed bring fine craft and much jingly shine. So the head of reason was behind the forging of the pot packs. Yes, reason and clever think changed Mobby's way of life. Yeah, I like Zeralja as a villain, but he reminds me of Thanos from the movies specifically. He's interesting, engaging, intimidating, and a complete moron. The first promise tires of your talk of olden days. He would rather look to the future and the next feat. Yes. I mean, in fairness, the whole point was that Thanos was insane. Not like, you know, like, no, like his brain didn't work right. That was the whole point of Thanos in the MCU. But, like, so I don't know if they're pulling a similar trick here, like if there's something wrong with this guy, or he really is that ignorant and or stupid. Yeah, exactly. The Mad Titan. Anyways. I do like him, though, as a character. Obviously, I like Thanos, but I actually was referring to the guy we were just talking about. Whose name I suddenly can't remember. Zeralja. Let's jot him down here. Dude has presence, if nothing else. Reminds me of what Ranjit probably should have been. Kul Jaja never did come back, did he? You have a moment, third promise. Yeah, what's up? Rakarok would repay you for hand-helping with Kahi. He brings tale of a golden city. Really? I'd love to hear it. Yeah, I don't want to be dismissive of the National Guard, but that's not a conquering power. The towers, the streets, all fashioned from gold. Everywhere we look, every splendor you can imagine. The young, the old, everyone in between live in golden happiness. A city of eternal bliss perched forever above the clouds. Interesting. Everything fashioned from gold, huh? Just imagine everyone living in golden happiness. Now that's a city I'd like to visit. Excuse me, Rakrok. Where'd you hear that particular tale? From our longtime Yokui friends. They live in the mountains on Urkupacha. Giants again. Seems everything is pointing us that way. This feat and everything leading up to it has taught us much about the Moblin way of life. I will be sad to leave Earthenshire and your joy smiles behind. Honestly, ditto. As usual, the MSQ is on point. I think the Yokui are guarding whatever the real problem is. And I think Zoralja is after whatever the real problem is. You know. If this was another game, I'd say they're guarding Omega Weapon or something similar, but you get the idea. Oh my god, side quests! Oh my god, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. I don't think I have enough time tonight to do them all. You can see the Giant's Nest. Golden Mysteries notwithstanding, their village is featured prominently in the saga and is not to be ignored. The Urkupacha Highlands should be easy enough to reach from here. If we leave Earthenshire from the west as a road leads up to the mountains, let's find that first. I hate this song with every fibre of my being. There we go. Honestly, this has been very legit. Part of the reason... A very small part of the reason why I took it so personally that people keep complaining about that one negative to story is because I've been very positive about this expansion. This has been knocking it out of the park from my perspective. Narratively, I do have to add that, to be completely honest. Like, the bosses I've fought so far are good. There was 4 boss positives for one dungeon. But the narrative has just been crushing it. Oh, that's a good idea. Right, quests. Hang on. Let's identify other side quests. Oh no, I've been into it, Blade of All. I have been right on board with everything. Speaking of, I need to give another 3 positives. Thoughts on that later. Oh man, that sounds terrible. Drunk Killer.
You are a strange face to Earthenshire, are you not? Then Dolrik has ask task for you. One she can only entrust to strange face. Follow cliffs, reach cracked cistern, secret hidey hole for secret hidey crafters. Once you crate to take goods keepers there, but will be fleet-footed and shadow sneaky about it. Do this, make it worth your while. Well, it's actually funny. I try very, very hard not to be spoiled about things like this, but there is one thing I know. And that is the fact that a lot of people have found this particular expansion divisive. Now, that's arguably a good thing, as bizarre as that probably sounds. But, yeah, exactly, Blade Chaval. That was more or less my impression walking in. That people are upset that they're not pulling what BFA did. I've said it before and I'll say it again. BFA was a mistake at its fundamental core. Trying to one-up the Legion expansion was a huge mistake and should never have been done. That is a cool shit. Is that an elemental shield, Yada? From Eureka? Oh, I lost him. Oh, whoops. Should be paying some kind of attention. If I have greater than godlike speed, what does that mean? Now, not to completely disagree with you, Drunk Killorn, but I agree with you. I actually think it would have been neat
if this was a time to experiment with the MSQ structure, right? Like you say, minimal voice acting means minimal production time. Minimal production time means you can experiment with things more and play around with things more. And so yeah, having a legitimately branching MSQ would be interesting. I probably wouldn't change who I backed. If you remember, I made that judgment all the way back in the first zone, in the first town, when we saw all 4 candidates. I was like, yep, nope, she's my backing. But it would have been nice to actually choose that and let other players choose whoever they want to. This is from Dullrick, isn't it? Thanks for carrying it over. She can do it herself, but, you know, politics. Us lot used to work in Earthenshire, you see. We appreciated the Moblins' patronage, but we just couldn't hack them piffing and gulping down our necks all the time. We needed our freedom. So we canceled our contract and moved out here. We can finally work by ourselves, for ourselves. Of course, not every mobby was too happy about us taking to the hills. Most of them deem us like terrible ingrates, I'm sure, but others, lovers of arts, still think we're worth patronizing. And so she keeps us in coin and materials on the quiet, and we share in our creations. Speaking of, you're heading back to Earthenshire. Could you give her this? My finest masterpiece yet, if I do say so myself. So this is already a cool side quest, because I already love the pot sword idea, but of course some people would join it and then find it stifling. But then they would keep doing it quietly in like a black market pot sword. That's just kind of a cool idea. Sorry for gushing, but like, I know all you care about is when I talk about negatives. But like, for real, this is what I want out of side quests, is this kind of little interesting stuff. Anyways. And yeah, we have definitely taken a back seat, but as I've said many times, I think that's a good thing. Bold strokes of color conjure the beauty of South Tyrol, or possibly Ennui. Is it for Duldrick? Ah, the deftness of touch. Such mingle melding of light and shade. Truly cracked cistern craft hands are correct in their thinky feels, but they can produce masterpiece without us. Still, it makes Duldrick jamp eyes that they thought our help hands were not but metal hands. We Moblins pride ourselves in providing the perfect craft plates for our pot sworn. That we should fail to uphold our side of the pot pact is ever shame. But Duldrick will not give up. She swore to support the finest artisans in Tyrol, and so she shall. Even if it means begging the hand help of every adventurer to pass through. And in spirit of supporting work well done, I offer you my own small reward for hand helping. Yeah, we've been officially chunking over into the mentor slot so smoothly that I've really been getting into it. Absolutely, Blue Off Alex. It's funny, I have to occasionally defend the fact that I do actually enjoy a good end-of-the-world story. I mean, what's my favorite WoW expansion? Legion. But most stories, like percentage-wise, most fiction across all media, tries to go big and honestly flops at it. So I tend to appreciate it when a story is brave enough to bother to bring the camera all the way down here. Say, Lowlander, can you deep dunk? Can you fish walk? Can you swim? Let Stoistick explain. She was out fishing with her friends when he dropped their only fish stick in the wet run. It's an interesting word for a river. She came back to find another fish stick, but no fish stick can be found. There's only one thing for it. We need to find the fish stick that fell in the wet run. Problem is, no Bobby likes deep dunking. Our safe suit's too heavy, but we can't take them off. It wouldn't be safe. Will you help us find our fish stick? Okay, sure. Yeah, no, that's a valid answer. We'll just know. Yeah, I just saw people messaging in the regional chat there, FML word. What is Tempteric to do? So near yet so far. Irland. She told Potsworn friend about beautiful waterweed, and Potsworn friend says she wants to study it close eyes. But waterweed grows at bottom of water. Tempteric can't fish walk. Can't ask Potsworn to collect it herself either. It'll go against Potpack. You wouldn't happen to be a talented fishwalker, would you? Actually, I can move in underwater. You're a talented fish breather? Yes, I am. Canonically. That has been just never not useful. You ever notice that? Okay, so that's our regional. Danger Straits. Danger Straits! Twinkle crafter gun missing. Ask all revisions. Some say he went to visit to Imperius, a giant's prey place. Prey place, danger place. Full of friend-munching fiends. You're a fighter, you not? Will you sword lend? You got it. Yeah, no kidding, Blade Duval. Oh no, they're drowning us. Can I help you? How are you not drowning? I can breathe underwater. What? You're looking for a twinkle crafter? That's me, most likely. I'm one of the Moblin's contracted artisans. I make jewel crafting. Vendavok was concerned for my safety. I'm kind of her to send me my own personal guard. I've ever been fascinated by the unique visual language of the Yokui, you see. I often visit this place and bask in its grand and imposing glory. Yet, I have never once taken a step beyond this point. The beasts that lurk are far too dangerous to risk delving further in, but with you at my side, I can finally study the details of the ruins, such as what remains of them. 500 years have come and gone since the giants returned to their ancestral land. So that's our timeline. It's been 500 years since the Yokui left. They have not been kind to the creations they left behind, yet some of the larger structures still remain. This impressive gate, for one. They say they towered moms over even the largest Chabral, but I wonder if their architecture might have been some exaggeration in those tales. Its sheer sense of scale serving to inflate the giant's own. But enough speculation. We must press on. So let's see. Lazy Peon. I think I know who that is. Nope, I am wrong. I don't know who the Lazy Peon is. Stormblood really is the warlords of FF14. Pillars of stone overlooking the nave. Sorry, I just realized we still have the Mega Man music on here. Pillars of stone overlooking the nave. Fascinating, isn't it? The simple combination of geometric shapes naturally draws one's eye to the center, all while maintaining a delicate balance. As the sun traversed the sky, so too would the shadows of towers. Shadows tower above, painting patterns on the ground below. Not just any patterns, calculations. Each stone cut in place with mathematical precision. Divining the movement of the stars and the changing of the seasons, a triumph of form and function, true artistry. Wait, what's that over there? Quickly, with me! Okay, I figured out why I've heard of the name Lazy Peon. He's apparently not particularly well liked in the Guild Wars 2 community. Can I help you? I don't know what he thinks of other MMOs. That's the big one. That I'm aware of. I know I give bad takes, but man. Thank you, and forgive me for racing ahead like that. I was so absorbed in examining every ilm of this place, I clean forgot the reason I'd ever done so before. But if there's anything this is worth risking one's life for, it's this. But look at this tower, it's a work of art. To the untrained eye, it might appear a little more than a pile of stone, but look at how each brick is cut and positioned perfectly to align with its neighbors. Not even a drop of mortar to hold them in place. The engravings, too, surely have some religious significance. They certainly inspire reverence in me. Yes, inspiring reverence, that's the thing. Why else would the giants build their temple upon a cliff top, if not to make daily proof of their predominance over those who dwelled in the plains below, those who were beneath them in every way? One cannot help but admire them. Their creation should awe and exhilarate us even now, centuries after they've been gone. Thank you, my friend. My passion for jewelry craft has been cooling of late, but now I am positively burning with inspiration. If the Yokhui's creation can echo through the ages, so can mine. To Earthenshire, eternity. Yeah, wasn't there a big storm recently? It's been a bit of a plot point. I don't know, food for thought. Anyways. Yeah, storm of blood, one might say. Whoop, 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 whoop. So is this the strongest start of the expansions? No, because Shadowbringers exists. Yeah, we're up in like the Andes. Oh wait, no, hang on. No, this is down by the jungles. The mountains is the other zone. I had to think about that for a second. Yes. Well, okay, by this point, possibly not, Loke. But there's a caveat, an asterisk to that. So, let me clarify this a little bit. When you say strongest start, I think you mean literally, like the first hour or two of the expansion. In which case, Shadowbringers crushes everything. Shadowbringers had an extremely good start, like the first few hours. It's one of the things that hooked me so immediately about it. And yeah, it also did a really good build-up through its first couple of zones, and then leading into the whole Minster Switch section. It's also a very, very different tone here. I mean, obviously, you know, the scene in the desert. That's all I'm going to say about that. Really? Can I not? I legitimately don't remember Endwalker's start. I can't even picture it for some reason. Either way, but yeah, Shadowbringers had a very strong intro. Stormbloods was not. In fact, Stormbloods was probably, I would say, the worst intro, counting ARR. Why can I not go down? Let me go down. Either way, Equalita says, is this what ARR should have been? Yeah, ironically, I'm leaning towards a no, as weird as that sounds. ARR was more or less exactly what it needed to be. I disagree with the execution. And, you know, I definitely have issues with it. I'm definitely one of the more negative ARRs people. But, no, I think ARR is what it needed to be. It was a Realm Reborn. It actually made more sense if you'd played 1.0. But, for the most part, you were running around dealing with stuff. That was, yeah, that was the recovery of the Cataclysm, exactly. Heavensward. Oof. Did they add a dive button and I'm an idiot? they did. Cool. Not how that used to work. Then again, I noticed I couldn't even have my mount out here, which was really weird. Thank you, FML word. Oh my god. Congrats, Yura. You're almost done with the tutorial. Oh, that's why my mount didn't work. Because my mount is not currently flying. That makes sense. I was gonna say, normally what happens is I just fly out into the water and then push down through it. And there's like a thing that shows up that you have to push down far enough in order to get through it, and then once you do, it transitions to water mode. But I'm not flying. Yeah, no, exactly, Loke. We did it. We saved what might be the last planet in the galaxy. Just sobering thought. Also, weird random thought. In both World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV, the world the game primarily occurs on might be one of the last inhabited planets in the galaxy. And if I had a nickel for every time that was true in an MMO, I'd only have 2 nickels, but that's still kind of weird that it happened twice. No, Asheron's Call actually has quite a few extra planetary species and peoples in it. Almost every species that is present in Asheron's Call is not from that planet. They're from another planet. Because portals can cross planets pretty easily in Asheron's Call. You can wet walk. You can help Mobby find missing fish stick. Many thanks. Fisher Mobby is lost without fish stick. I will get it for you. Or die trying. You say it's awesome, and you're right, Mr. Red, but that's actually why the Empyreans died out. Sort of. It's actually more complicated than that, but what essentially happened was they opened up a portal to another world, found a species called the Olthoi, who were, let's just call them the Zerg and get that out of the way. And they were like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. They decided to bail, naturally, as they should. And then one of the members of the Imperial Court was like, man, I sure hate my rival. I'm going to open up a portal to this Olthoi planet accidentally, and I'm going to make sure that he's blamed for it. So he opened the portal, and the Zerg swarm came through, and they swept the species. You ever wonder why Asheron's Call predominantly occurs on a spit of land that's essentially just an island? It's because the other continents are completely covered by Olthoi. So one jackass with a hard-on for one political rival knocked over a planet, essentially. Portal magic. No, it's pretty big, but the only playable area is very small. In fact, it is to scale. I forget the exact size. Someone did the math at one point. Happy Feels, thank you so much. Aw, thank you. Is that everything? That is everything. Yes, Loke. The actual planet of Oborian, which is the name of the planet, is a death world. The spit of land we live on, which is Dareth, is the only habitable land on it. The lore of Asheron's Call was actually quite fascinating. Big thanks for bringing the Twinkle Crafter. Not only is he safe and well, but full of mind fruit. Says he found in the giant's prey place. The need for mind fruit is common amongst the pot swarm. Some try to find it in history, some in nature, some in firewater. It is our side of the pot pack to keep them well supplied with it, a duty that is a constant source of brain pain. But oh, the ideas they have when they have it. Such fresh thinking. Actually, kinda, yeah, Drunkiller, when you put it that way. Like, in lore, you can walk from one end of Daros to the other. Obviously, in gameplay you can, but it's one of the very few MMOs that doesn't have MMO scale. No, low. I covered Asheron's Call quite thoroughly in my Farewell to AC video. Find the waterweed? Yep, there you go. Wonder weeds. Even more beautiful up close to them in the water. I will show them to their pot-sworn friend right away. They're sure to give her plenty of mind fruit. She is expert at reproducing nature, not only in pretty looks, but in funny traits too. This waterweed has special funny trait. It changes color depending on the warmth of the water in which it grows, its exposure to light, or even long years. If she can craft dangly jewels that do the same, it will surely sell for a potload of jingly shine. I forget which channel it's on, but it's there, Loke. FF14 has a decent amount of MMO scale. For example, let's see, I'm trying to remember. I think it's from Dravania. Yeah, so you can walk from here down to Kurthus, through Kurthus, over to here, over to the Black Shroud, and then down to Thanalin. And this is pretty much as far as it goes. But, like, you can walk from Thanalin down here up to Dravania, across what is effectively a continent. And it's going to take you a minute, don't mistake me, but the point is, it's going to take you a lot less time than it probably should. And that's MMO scale, for those of you wondering what that means. Asheron's Call 2 was actually a sequel. That was then deemed non-canon. Oh, and Turbine is the name of the company that made Asheron's Call. You've probably never heard of them, but they made another game called Lotro. And Dungeons & Dragons Online. DDO, that was also them. I think I'm running out of time. So rather than try to rush through this or chopping it off in the middle, we'll do the regional chain when we come back tomorrow. See y'all.